Can't you see him glow? Token brother brought the flow. Now it's time for the show. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Revolver Live, the gaming podcast that says forget the past, the future belongs to the nerds, people like us. He is I and I am him, thick with a big old stick. The Beastly Gamer's here. Welcome. Today, I'm joined by the Revolver Live co-hosts. I love you guys. I missed you guys. It's been a wild week. I'm super excited to see you guys. Oh, don't worry about my freestyling skills. Briar, how you feeling today, my friend?
I'm fucking freezing. It's like Connecticut weather has been insane this week. It was 75 degrees and sunny yesterday. It was beautiful. I was out in the sun. I even got a little bit of sunburn, you can see. Today, I'm freezing my balls off out in the cold wind and rain. I'm just out here innocently trying to take pictures of kids, put them on the internet, and it's like God is punishing me for this. It's awful.
I don't know if it's the weather. You might be getting punished by some other shit in the future if you keep up with your pastime. That's God's way of saying it's just not worth it to be out there in Connecticut. God is like,
I agree.
At
100%.
He's saying that, I got a sense of humor. Let's give him a nice sunny day. Look at them out there frolicking in their backyards and playing tetherball. Tomorrow, snow, laughing at your ass. It's all good, man. Mister.
By the way, that's sports photography, just to clear that up. I take pictures
for clearing
kids'
it up.
Sports teams, so you can buy magnets and trading cards.
There's a lot of next game news going on in here.
I mean, I don't care who buys them. I still think it's inappropriate to take the pictures.
To take pictures of kids? You talking about children, Gary?
That boat sailed. Mr. Wilson.
What's up, everyone?
You finish the intro, you UK mother. Go ahead. Wilson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Feels good to be on the show. Miss my boys. It's been a pretty busy but boring week. Not really much, a lot of Lunchables, a lot of Destiny 2, the usual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in Destiny 2 right now, Wilson?
I'm so glad you asked. Not a whole lot, man. I'm embarrassed to admit I cleaned up all my adventures, cleaned up all the golden chests. I did all my milestones this week. I'm just kind of farming, getting prepared for the next expansion. So come 5 minutes in, I can turn in all my tokens, have everything, and then complain that there isn't enough to do in the game.
And they wonder why these fucking people are crazy. It sounds like a lot of fun. I did see that trailer. It looks like a lot of fun.
No doubt.
Gives me something to do in Destiny again.
Yeah, man. Anna Bray's looking hot.
Anna Bay.
And so, Gary, how's your week been, my friend?
Don't fist my lady like that. My week's been good. I've spent the week pretty much balls deep in my favourite pastime, and that is stroking my Vita. I'm back on the wagon. The needle is deep into my forearm, and I am juicing full of sweet Vita.
It's been a while, Gary. We haven't heard much Vita talk in a long time, and all of a sudden you're back in deep.
Balls deep, too.
It is. It's
like you fell off the wagon. You had to hand your 10-year coin in.
Oh.
It's like you're never really truly clean. You're just not currently playing at that time. It's the problem with the Vita.
So I've seen you all over Twitter for the last couple of days when I've been able to get on Twitter. It's been a very fascinating week for me this week. But I've seen that you've done some pretty fantastic modding of your Vita. And, of course, we're going to get into that. It's actually one of our topics, the kind of things you've done. As someone who loves the modding scene, I was really shocked at what you've been able to do. I talked to Kate about it. She couldn't believe it either. You're a hardcore fanatic about the Vita. You're one of three in the world. I think Colin Moriarty's one, and I don't know the other guy. But you guys, you deserve your weight in gold when it comes to pushing the Vita narrative and making it seem still important.
I mean, we're still fractionally larger than the PC population of Destiny 2, but only just.
Sticking a knife in his side.
Burning everybody with that one.
Yeah.
Nobody got away scot-free there.
Well, I'm gonna just get real quick to tell you guys a little bit about my week. Of course, you guys know my week has been a little tumultuous. Monday, I got a call from my son's teacher. He was lying to her, not doing his work, so I had to do we all remember, the dad showing up at school looking like a mob figure standing outside the door made of glass, pointing at your ass, and getting you out into the hallway and berating you in front of your classmates before taking you home and giving you a really hard ass whipping.
My dad was not leaving the bar to go to the high school.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this never actually happened to me.
check it out, right? Look, I lived in Ohio. My dad lived in Georgia. And I'm in middle school. My teacher, her real name was Miss Boutee, Boutee.
Ooh.
That's her real name. Anyway, my dad, before I was born, my dad worked at a high school up in Akron. And he actually knew her. And I didn't know. I had no clue that he knew her. But he came to visit us. And at the time, he seemed like he was 12 feet tall. He's actually the height I am now. But he came into my class, and he knew her. And he said her name, and she said his name. And then they looked like they were like long lost lovers and looking like, what the fuck is happening here? And he walked past me and like embraced her. And he said, how's my son? And she's like, oh, he just gives me trouble. I was like, you lying ass bitch. Anyway, my dad berated me. And, I couldn't talk back, and all my friends were looking at me like, damn, she just did that to you, and you don't do anything wrong. My son actually did do something wrong, and he paid for it dearly. Bet you all the work's done now, ain't it, Brandon? Anyway.
Damn. Called out. Brandon, I hope you're happy with yourself. You satisfied?
He's got a fresh haircut. He's looking good, but I'm sure he still feels the pain from Monday. But
shit.
So Monday through Thursday.
And that was when DCF got called.
Take him.
True.
Take him. I got 4 more. Take him. Shit, he likes hot sauce on his noodles. Peace. But anyway, Tuesday through Thursday was pretty normal. And then Friday comes around. I get to work. I'm happy. I'm excited. I got 2 Red Bulls. I'm ready to go. And I started to have some words with someone who works there with me, one of the truck drivers. And I could tell he came into my office and he had like an attitude. I was like, man, what's your problem? He's like, man, fuck you, motherfucker. I was like, gone. I'm looking at this guy, older guy. And he left my office and I decided to go into the break room to get one of my Red Bulls. And so I walk in.
Can we get this gentleman's name, not his full name, obviously for privacy reasons, but his moniker that he has at work? So I think it adds to the story if we know what he's referred to as at work.
His name's Buffalo.
I don't know if this is a smart idea, actually.
Buffalo. I mean,
it's too late. It's out there.
The pseudonym Buffalo, I feel, could be applied to anyone, Briar.
So hold on, basically, when someone's giving you shit, and someone's giving you a hard time, your first instinct is to go grab a Red Bull.
I have one every morning. It's Friday morning. I want to get in my office, get my stuff cut up.
Fair enough. Sorry.
I want to get the day rolling. So I walk into the break room, and there's this guy sitting there. And he starts in on me again. And I'm looking at this guy. He's like 55 years old. Someone who's been a friend for years. He's an asshole, but, he's one of the bearable assholes. Kind of like Gary, a person who he's right on the cusp of getting it, but you can deal with him. And so he starts in on me in the break room, cussing me out. He called me a bitch. That doesn't normally happen to me. It's,
damn.
Situations that, fuck you, motherfucker. He does this too, 2 of them. And it says fuck you and calls you bitches and all this stuff.
I'm sorry. Can I get a repeat on that sound effect?
Spot on.
Yeah, he does that. And so I get my Red Bull and I'm getting ready to go back to my office. So I'm walking back toward my office. I see this guy with a couple of other coworkers standing outside my office, and he says something about me. And at this point, I'm starting to feel slightly agitated because I'm a nice person. I don't,
Red Bull's flowing.
You guys know my family history. I have a family.
Taurine, that fucking
flowing through
bull
his veins
juice
right
pumping
now.
through your veins.
Barely contain it. That Atlanta anaconda is ready to burst at this point.
Just big old pair of balls hanging between his legs like a pit bull terrier, just swollen nuts.
Swollen nuts.
Yeah, do you know you see those pit bulls?
None of those thoughts in my mind.
You ever see a pit bull terrier walking down the street and its nuts are just like uncomfortably large?
Yeah.
You see a dog who's like dick and balls are bigger than yours, like they're just fucking huge, just hanging out.
You can't turn
there.
your head away either. You're just like, God damn, look at those fucking things.
They're almost too big for the dog. Like it's walking odd to accommodate them.
Like it's almost a mercy to get them cut off because it's like you walk like a goddamn cowboy, like all bow-legged with them like hanging there. I'm sorry, Beasley.
Yes, continue.
I see how you guys just bring the balls into it. Anyway, I'm going back to my office, and this guy is standing there with a group of people talking about me, and
what
you guys
was he saying? Like what?
He's calling me names, and I could see him blowing. He's got his vape out. He blows this big, exhaust up into the sky. Yeah, he's an angry. He's not like Will. He's an asshole. Angry vapor. He comes into my office. He comes into my office knowing I don't smoke, and just exhale a room full of smoke. It smells nice, but thanks anyway, motherfucker.
Wait, he blew his vapor grind on you?
Yeah. I didn't know that was a party foul. Now I know.
Yeah, is that like a...
I didn't know vapor grind was a bad thing. Thanks.
I've never even heard those two words together before. That's vapor grind.
I thought it was a sex position.
Vapor.
That too.
It's true. It's true, Gary. And so, I'm slightly getting agitated because, the guy's up in your face calling you names, and you're really wondering why. Even in the break room, I said, why are you getting upset over things that have nothing to do with you? You can't change. You're older than me. I shouldn't be telling you this. That's when he stood up and said, fuck you, bitch, and walked out of the break room. At this point, I'm like, we skipped a few levels here, And so I'm walking back toward my office, and he's out there talking shit against me. And I set my Red Bull down, and I, approached him, and I said, you don't need to ever get in my face and do that ever again. And he said, fuck you, bitch, again. And this time he used both fingers, and they touched my nose. Yeah, it touched my fucking nose. So it touched my nose.
Why was he so mad at you, Beasley?
I don't know.
What'd you do? Come on, you know.
I swear to God. I swear, Briar, I didn't do anything to this guy.
Did you dip your anaconda into his vape juice?
Ooh.
Coffee.
Ooh.
It was cold. But
did he have the misfortune of standing next to you in the urinals? That's really ruin his day for the rest of the day.
Okay,
that may be it.
Who's the suit standing behind me? Oh, that's Beasley.
To give a little context real quick, when I come to work in the morning, the truck drivers, they have first priority. They need to get out of the shop because they have to deliver. And so I run the lab, and sometimes there are parts that need to run through the lab and be checked before I certify them to go. And he was asking about parts, but he didn't know I checked them the day before. And when I checked them the day before, they were actually on the cusp of not being, certified. They didn't meet my certifications, and I needed, to get an okay from someone, above my pay grade. So he had to wait for just a few minutes. And so he was upset about that. And then, he made a condescending comment to me about last week not coming in to work during the weekend for someone else's problem. Something someone else did had nothing to do with me. I was going to come, but someone called me and said, hey, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. I live 10 minutes away. Obviously, he heard through the grapevine some other story. And I was like, why are you concerned about things that have nothing to do with you? And he's cussing me out. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Anyway, I went up to him and I said, hey, man, don't ever get in my face and do that again. Mm-hmm. And, he did this. And then he said,
diffusing the situation. You followed him after he gave you the middle fingers. You followed him, and you tried to defuse the situation by telling him, you better not do that again, otherwise I'll fuck you up.
No.
Calm, like a Hindu cowman. Calm.
Gandhi would be proud. Gandhi's like, that's exactly how I would have handled that shit. I told him how to fuck him up, too.
I would have stalked that motherfucker to the end of the earth and said, you better watch yourself.
I'd have whooped that trick.
This guy is standing in front of my office, okay? So I'm going to my office. Before I get to the office, I put the cup down. He's over there talking shit still. And I said, don't do that again. You're crossing a line. You're getting in people's face. And that's when he came and did this and touched my nose. And it wasn't like that even made me mad, but he punched me in my chest then. Punched me in my chest. There's three people watching.
A two-handed punch, like a fucking shack cracker.
It was kind of like, fuck you, that kind of thing,
Okay, like more like a shove off, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You had it there, Willie, like a Hadouken.
At that point, I could have actually attacked him. But
Basically, if you're gonna tell this story, you have to allow us to get our jollies out of it too.
God damn it, bro!
Okay, you tried to throw a Hadouken. What'd you do about that? Did you counter with a Shoryuken? Did you?
Was it a blue one or a red one?
You did?
Yeah.
Did you drop a Liu Kang bicycle kick, across the side of the cloth?
So when this guy, I'm looking at these people over here. I look at the guy, put my hand back like this. I said, if you hit me again, I'm going to hit you back. I'm thinking this guy, because when he hit me, I'm a big guy. He flew back. the massive me. He hit me. It was like pushing a wall. He ended up knocking himself back. And so I told him, I said, if you touch me again, I'm going to slap the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of this guy, older guy. He's about 5'8". I'm thinking, okay, this guy's smart enough to know not to do this. He winds up a left hook. He throws a left hook, hits me in the face. I'm a big guy. His left hook wasn't enough. I looked at him, and then I just threw a right cross and knocked him out.
Oh, so you lied.
Huh?
You lied to him. He thought the consequences for hitting you would be to get slapped, but you didn't slap him.
You punched him.
You came in like fucking Balrog and right hooked his ass.
You lied straight to this man's face.
It was a right. and so the first hit he gave me was this little, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? And so the second was an actual, a left hook. He hit me in my face, and it's like you can't think through that situation. You know when you're in a fucking fight. You all know. Hopefully, Gary. And so when he hit me...
No, I've never been in a fight. I heard you've developed a self-defense mechanism that I've never actually deployed or used, but if I was in that scenario and I had a large African-American man threatening to slap me, my defense mechanism would be to take every item of clothing I have off. Diffuses the situation.
Let the man's homophobia work against him.
That for one, but secondly, if you strike me down, there's a strong probability you might touch my junk.
Gary will do the.
And when he wakes up, he's definitely gonna cry rape.
Yep. Gary will do the. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can ever imagine. The Obi-Wan Kenobi takes his clothes off.
That was my Friday, and so this guy and myself, we both got sent home. He came to me about 20 minutes later. I was going to clock out, and he apologized for hitting me. And I told him, I said, I've known you for years. I don't know why the fuck you would even do something like that. We've had words before. We've laughed before. We've joked with each other before. I don't know why you would consider hitting me a viable option. And it honestly, it's a crazy feeling to see somebody asleep before they hit the ground. But when you look at the ground and you see the person that you actually know that 5 seconds ago was being super aggressive, now they're asleep, you just feel bad about it. You feel bad about the situation. I wish it didn't happen. But, as a man, I'm not going to go punch the person in the face unless I'm willing to take whatever the fuck force they have coming back my way. And obviously he learned a lesson here. And hopefully things will be better for him tomorrow. But yeah, for those who are new to the show.
I wish that knocking people out was a way to teach more lessons. Think about how much prettier the world would be if every time somebody fucked up, you could just knock them out, and that lesson learned. Right? It's done. You're good.
The thing is, though, Briar, it wasn't intended to be. It wasn't intended to be a knockout. It wasn't. It
was supposed to be a slap, which you lied about.
But it was supposed to be a contained punch. He didn't know it was going to have fire on his fist.
The full force of the anaconda had reached through his. He coiled up and struck out.
The person look, this is what he did. He did this and hit me because he had an audience. There's a girl and these two guys watching, and he had an audience. And I'm like, okay, well, if he does that again, I'll slap him. I didn't know he was going to level up and charge up a fucking left hook and hit me thinking that his left hook's going to somehow knock me out. It just pissed me off. He hit me, and I looked, I was like, and then I hit him. And it is what it is. It's all history.
How long a pause from the time he hit you till the time you hit him?
Half second.
Half a second? Because there's that momentary, this motherfucker just hit me.
Yeah. This motherfucker. Yeah.
Look, I'll just say it like this. I didn't even think about hitting him. I swear to God on the Bible, I'm not kidding. Once he hit me, I didn't even control myself. All I saw was him.
I kind of feel like if you look at it abstract, we've all learned a lesson here. I feel like we can reflect upon the world and take BC's week and project that onto life. In many ways, Buffalo, has really just lived out the tale of North Korea. And he came in. He was a man that was very short in stature, but I guess punched well above their weight and would thrash out wildly. And they punched once, didn't learn their lesson, punched twice, and were shut down. Fortunately, in our world, North Korea didn't punch the second time. So maybe had you and Buffalo walked hand in hand and shook hands for the audience.
Shook hands afterwards. He came to me. I was clocking out. He came and apologized and shook my hand twice. And I
Haven't
felt
enough
bad.
Buffalo suffered already, man?
The people of Buffalo are
Damn.
starving under a tyrannical regime, Beastie, and you've done that to him.
Well, I mean, to be totally honest, this guy, he's not a friend, but he's an acquaintance. And
Not
someone
anymore.
That's up to him. He had a bad day, and he let his day carry on to his morning, carry on to him taking a nap. It's funny though how taking a nap, an unplanned nap, when you wake up, you're a completely different person. Maybe knocking people out is good, because when you see a person, you got 3 people waking some guy up, and he looks like a brand new born deer. His legs are just like dangling. He doesn't. All that fight is gone, and the realization that, hey, I kind of fucked up, kind of seeps into your mind. You can't.
So it turns out Beasley's fists are actually peacekeepers, right? They're
NATO
not weapons.
Yeah.
It's funny, Beasley. I've been actually thinking about you all week. Now, I mean, you've had quite a bit of drama in your life this week, but I've been actually, like, you've literally been in my mind all week as we've watched the tale of Randy, aka Candyman Jackson, in the news, which we all know, like, he's been up for assignment with the VA from Trump.
I think it's Ronnie Jackson.
Randy Jackson.
It's Randy. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't know,
Michael
this guy
Jackson's brother,
is like a White House. He's a White House doctor. He's been a White House doctor for a very long time, and his nickname is Candyman because apparently he would prescribe. It was easy to get prescribed drugs from him. And I don't know how you earn the name Candyman. I suppose that's one way, but I do know that it's never a moniker that an adult man would want. And it's kept me kind of laughing, like, throughout the week. Like, this dude's nickname is fucking Candyman. And every time it reminded me of Beasley's original YouTube channel, which
The Candyman
was Candyman, like 31488, something like that.
In defense of my name, I actually owned a candy business, and I made a lot of money. And when you grow old, like from 17 on, you get your car, you start your first business, you hire a crew of people, and you're going out, just in your neighborhood making $500-600 a day off of a candy business.
Yeah.
It's something you're pretty proud of. I had the fucking Candyman bumper on the plate on the front of my fucking car.
I've met 2 Candyman.
Was it perhaps a white van, Beasley?
I've met 2 Candymans.
Candyman,
I've met 2 Candymans my whole life. One sold drugs, and one was a murderer on a movie.
What the actual guy?
One sold me drugs and one raped me.
Yeah. True, all transparency for the people watching and listening. Briar and the guys, they know that I grew up actually in a part of teen careers and junior achievement. And my family, my father, he used to actually run crews for JA. And so it was kind of a thing that we grew up in. There was crews everywhere when we growing up, tons of kids with pockets full of money. And so when I grew up, I wanted to, try my hand at it. Yeah, my dad had a.
If you say Candyman 3 times in the mirror, Beasley appears behind you.
Well, see, I learned that if I say it once, it's already there. So there was really no need.
You get strangled by the Atlanta anaconda.
Knocked out
around the back of your throat.
For those who are new to what we do here, Revolver Live is a gaming podcast. Yes, we are. With 6 revolving topics. You can be a part of the show by submitting your topics for consideration at revolvergamescast@gmail.com. We go live every Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit. The video is then shared on YouTube at Briar Rabbit's page and my page, Beastly Gamer. If you're unable to see the live video format or the YouTube stuff, check us out in podcast form on Podbean, iTunes, Podcast Addict, or wherever you do your podcasting. With that, welcome to Revolver Live, episode 39. I swear I'm not going to hit anybody. Welcome, guys.
Yo, we're almost over the hill in podcasting.
What are you talking about, over the hill?
40 is over the hill.
God damn it, man. I'm 38. This is bullshit. Don't even say that to me.
Dude,
I'm 34.
60's the new 40.
Okay, cool.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I got you. I'll give you that one, bro. You're right.
You know how
Apologies.
long people are living these days? Look, as soon as I can pay all my bills on time because I don't fucking just randomly forget, then you can call me old. But I'll tell you what, this is not that month.
Fair enough, Briar. You're right.
You're right. Let me ask you a question, Brian. Do you actually pay your bills, or does your wife pay?
No, we take turns, kind of do it.
So
it's like a team effort. Neither one of us likes to do it, so we just force it on the other one.
I gotta stop asking these questions live when my wife watches the show. I haven't paid a bill in 8 years. I just make the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no clue. It's like if Kate were to die, I'd be standing in the middle of the street saying, "Help! What's in the mailbox?
Where is the mailbox?"
I don't know what's going on.
I'd be fucking doomed, man. Like, cause like as awesome as Lunchables are, they don't have all the nutrients you need. You know what I mean?
Vitamins and minerals.
And
yeah.
I already got to fend for myself 3 nights a week for dinner, and I've stepped up my game. Okay, I've moved up to ramen noodles now. All right, that's my new jam, and I eat them with chopsticks because it legit makes me feel more fancy. It makes them better. Okay, it's good, and you can also legit. Like you can crunch up like hot fried chips or whatever and put them in there and make them spicy.
What they do that in jail. Have you ever been in jail, Wilson? That's like it's called a burrito in jail. Where'd you learn this technique?
Sorry, I know for the audio
listeners,
Wilson's white. He's never been to jail.
I discovered the recipe in jail. Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in jail. It's been 15 years. I went just as a learning experience. As soon as you graduate, they say, and so before you guys are
also
able to go out into the world.
By the way, that's where Wilson met the Candyman.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I was in jail, and this was it had to have been 15 years ago. And the guy who I was sharing a cell with, I think his name is Bruno, he said, "Hey man, you gonna eat that?" I was like, "Yeah, I think." He said, "Well, how about we combine your noodles with that bread, that sandwich? We'll put some cheese in there. We'll like add all this other shit, and then we'll put it in this plastic wrap." And put it inside the sink and let some of the water like soak into the bread around it, and it'll swell up. The noodles will cook, and I forget exactly how they warmed up the water. I don't want to think about it at this point, but it ended up turning into like a fucking burrito. And to be honest, in jail you don't have much options. The burrito was pretty damn good.
Man,
I'm gonna have to try
this. If in jail someone offers you a burrito, you never say yes. Ever.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. Is that from your experience, Gary? Is that in British prison?
Yeah.
Whatever that guy is offering, you probably don't want. It may not be edible.
I haven't learned much from doing this show over the past year or so, but I have learned, if you're in the clink and somebody offers you the burrito and his name is the Candyman, just say no.
I wish we could have a Scared Straight episode where Gary got to go to American prison and all the people like yell at him through the fucking cells. Look at you pretty boy, like all this stuff.
Gary will cry talking to the police officers in the jail. What are you talking about?
Oh, that would be pure YouTube gold. The look on Gary's face.
Look, sir, we're going to let you in there. They're not going to hurt you. They're just going to talk to you. Gary said, "No, officer, please, no. Please."
Hugo says it's a sausage roll in the UK.
It might have been. It might have been. So we got a great show lined up for you guys today. We talked about it for 2 minutes before we went live. Nothing is planned, just like always. Are you guys ready to get on with the festivities of today's Revolver Live?
Honestly, though, we tried to talk about it, but Beasley had to tell us the same story he just told you.
We heard it twice.
They heard it. They heard about it.
We got the run.
It was funnier the first time.
And real talk though, when that situation happens in real life, I swear to God, it happens in slow motion. When you follow through, it's
honestly,
slow motion.
it is actually the third time because we did also hear the story live as it was happening.
Yes.
So we got the live version. We got the tweet cast version.
And then we got the watch it with your friends version.
Right. We got the version, the pre-show version.
God damn, what's the fucking first time? Shit.
The first topic is my topic, and
nice.
It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It's something that I treasure more so than anything on this place that we call a world. It is the PlayStation Vita. I'm calling it the most versatile handheld you can buy in 2018, and there is specific reason why this week I'm bringing up a Vita, and that's because this week I got into the homebrew scene. So I am now a homebrew boy. I don't know if anyone here, I'm just trying to gauge the room. Have you guys had experience in homebrew of the Vita and what you can do with it?
Yes,
No.
I know all about Hinkaku, or at least what it was a year ago when it was kind of new. It was the first homebrew or the first firmware, custom firmware that you can actually boot direct. You had to do it each time. Now I understand you can hard boot it where it stays, but back then you had to flash it every single time you wanted to use it. And at the time, you couldn't really put Vita games on it. It was just a bunch of homebrew stuff. And for people who don't know, homebrew is applications and things of that nature that are created by individual developers, people who want to just make their own thing and put it as kind of freeware out there. Kind of like when I had the PlayStation 3 vibrating controller. Homebrew
So
stuff.
you're essentially putting custom firmware on the motherboard of your Vita, right? So like emulation.
Pretty much everything you can possibly
you
think
can
of this can
emulate
do. So in terms of just to set the scene here, I actually feel like the PlayStation Vita is a better proposition now when you don't run Sony proprietary operating systems on it. Sony have handcuffed the Vita from the outset in terms of capability, in terms of what it can do, how it's used, just general user friendliness, access to it. So we're going to get it out the way here, at the start of the conversation, because it's not where I want to dwell. Yes, homebrew makes the Vita, I guess piracy is accessible on it. So you can download any PS1, PSP, PS Vita games that you want on it completely free of charge if you want to do such a thing. Obviously, I'm not the unscrupulous type that would do that, but I want to spend the rest of the time talking about the other shit that you can do with this.
He sure is.
Briar. Have you seen that picture of Briar the pirate going around on Twitter? It's gorgeous.
It is really nice, Briar.
One of the biggest gripes about the PlayStation Vita was that you could only get 64 gig memory cards. They were proprietary cards, and they were about $150, I think, for a memory card at the time.
Yeah, that's a 99 gig, I believe.
64 gig. They never made more than that. And the
Look of
64
disgust on Briar's face.
64 was only available in Japan as well. In the States, you got 32 gig for $100. It was absolutely predatory pricing. So what someone's done is let you, through an adapter, use your own SD cards. You can put, at the moment, up to 400 gigabytes in there, with 2 terabytes being the capacity limit. So they've completely bypassed that. So the Vita now is something that could walk around theoretically with 2 terabytes in it with one memory card, and you don't have to buy Sony's own thing. So that's one benefit. Secondly, emulation.
Does the adapter go right in, so it's not hanging off or anything?
So what the adapter does is it's the shape of a PS Vita game card. So you pop your SD card into what is a shell of a PS Vita game card. You pop that into your game slot, and you never take it out. It just sits in there, and it is 400 gigabytes of every game that could possibly get. The second thing is emulation. So I'm not going to go through every platform it is, but you guys that are looking at the notes can see it. But everything up to the PlayStation 1 and N64, this thing can emulate in one place. So you've got a handheld that will be every conceivable retro device possible, and a 400 gig hard drive to store ROMs on. So you can play anything on it, and it's on the go. You fancy playing a ROM, you've got it there. So, do you guys... What's the name?
Great.
Multiple arcade machine emulator. Do you even hack, bro? MAME.
Well,
I guarantee you
retro
MAME is on this.
Downloading MAME emulators does not make you a hacker, bro.
God damn it, Briar. You got to always buff the hit.
I got this script off the internet. Watch me hack, bruh.
Yeah.
I do believe actually the term is script kitty.
Oh, yes. Nailed it. Script kitties.
It actually uses something called RetroArch, so it may be an evolution of MAME. So this is one bubble on your Vita screen. You hit it, and it's got every system you can possibly think of. I mean, going back to the Atari 2600 right the way through, it's got RPG Maker on there. It's got everything you can possibly think of. It's got under one bubble, one thing on your UI.
That's really nice.
It is super good, and you can customize it as well. So if you're playing, obviously, the emulated game, the ROM, you can speed it up, slow it down, change save states, put bilinear filtering on it, change the screen size, whatever you want to do. All the mod cons that you'd have on a PC, you've got there. The other feature that's really, really cool is remote play from your PC. Now, you guys saw this. I demoed it to you,
Thumbs up. I couldn't believe
Absolutely stunning. So this little Vita here has been modded to have Moonlight. So if anyone knows what Moonlight is, it works on like Android phones and other things like that. I think it might even work on iOS. It's a screen mirroring device. So I can go onto any PC game that I've got from my Vita, boot it up and play it as if this was a peripheral, just like a controller using it. And it's going to be almost zero latency. I mean, it might have like 20, 30 ms latency because it's coming across Wi-Fi, but not enough to ruin your day. You know, you guys, the people in the podcast here saw it running The Witcher 3 at 1440p Ultra, and it ran at almost zero latency and looked fantastic. So it's one of the only devices that can do that PC remote play, 60 frames per second, no lag. I mean, I don't know, do you guys know of any other handhelds that can do that?
What you're saying is I could be on the toilet farming Destiny 2 PC at 60 frames a second whilst dropping said deuce?
You could be deucing away on that.
That's an enjoyable deuce.
Yes, look at his.
That's the only way to farm, in my opinion.
That's real farming.
So I can play 60 frames per second, 100 FOV on a PS Vita, but I can't do it on a PS4.
Sadly, you can't.
What the fuck? You just made me rethink everything. Why is that a thing?
So Gary, there's got to be some problems with this, right? It's not all fucking, hearts and roses and fucking candy.
Do you know what? I want to say that there is downsides, but the only downside I can see is that you lose access to some of the legitimate features. So there's you can log in with your official PSN on it, spoofing the PSN version, the operating system or the firmware you've got to get on the PSN store. But Sony have been known to blanket ban people that they've noticed coming in through a DNS. So in my opinion, you lose legitimate access. But again, you're not using this for legitimate access. You're using this for, the kind of jailbroken features that you've got. I mean, overclocking, another feature that's it makes the device better than a stock device. So, secret of mana.
Overclock your PS Vita?
You can, without even needing to do anything. There's a homebrew in there that brings up an overlay when you press L1, R1 up. And you can choose to overclock the CPU, GPU, and base clock speeds on your Vita on the fly. So you can go default, game default, or maximum performance. And it will double the clock speeds of the CPU and GPU. So an example there, Secret of Mana and Borderlands 2 are both famous at dropping frames. If you put an overclock on mid-game, Secret of Mana will play at a lock 60 and Borderlands will play at a lock 30. It's incredible that you've got this functionality that was just kept out of the stock software. You can now, like as BC was saying, you can play it on a permanent state. So before you used to have to run the hack every time you turned it on. You can now run it so that you literally turn your Vita on and it is in this state with everything available to you. I cannot see a downside of it except from the fact that you almost want a dedicated device to do this with.
All right, so I can see a couple downsides. One is the legality of it, right?
Go for it.
Is this legal? It's certainly not legal to be downloading the ROMs off of the internet, right?
So there's two factors to that.
It's a gray area right now.
No. There's actually clarity on it.
It definitely is a gray area right now because some games people don't. You have so long to do something with a title before it becomes public domain, whether it's movies, music, video games, literature, any of that kind of stuff. If you don't do something with that title within a certain amount of years, you lose the legal rights to it. So some games you can do this with. Some states, countries say that as long as you own the physical cartridge or the game, that you can do this.
In the States, yeah.
Yeah,
but that depends on what state you live in. Like, this is a huge gray area because nobody's been taken to court for this yet. But you don't want to be the first one.
No, yeah.
Because try to explain to a judge, that a 60-year-old judge, the difference between owning a game and getting the ROM, or maybe a ROM hack that switched around the assets and stuff like that.
There's a guy. Gary, does this allow you to download current PS Vita games and play them without buying them?
So, absolutely, the homebrew doesn't. but the applications that people put on it do. So if you weren't to use PKGJ or no PlayStation or anything like that, then you wouldn't have access to anything that was illegal unless you downloaded it yourself. You can do that. It gives you modular control to do that. But as Wilson said, there's actually what's it called? Nintendo and Sony, their servers are available to download copies of the games for free. What you pay for is a license to buy them. So people are spoofing licenses. That is illegal. Downloading the games is not illegal. You can download a copy of the game and have it.
But playing them without paying for it is.
Yeah, if you use a licensed spoofer or anything of that nature, the other things, that is illegal.
So the other thing I got a question about is you have to have a specific version of the firmware to even do this, right?
3.6.
3.60 is still, or anything previous to that. So after 3.60, the kernel exploit that allows this to happen was patched out. So to actually get it, you can actually patch up to 3.65 once you've got it, and spoof up to 3.67. So you have current firmware once you've got the hack, but you can't initiate the hack.
Is there a way to roll back your firmware if you have it currently?
That's what I was going to ask. Is there like a Pandora battery, like a maintenance service battery that allows you to roll back firmware?
That's how you know about this stuff, Wilson. I like that.
Well, I did it before. I did on the original PSP.
Yeah, so. I all mine are modded. I own no illegal software. But go ahead, Gary. Is there a way to roll back?
Something else. So the 3.60 motherboard is in high demand. So there's no actual official way to roll it back or flash the motherboard. But what you can do, Vitas can be opened up in like 10 minutes. You can swap a motherboard out. So if you can find a 3.60 motherboard, you can drop that into your Vita and it's good to go. So you do have to.
Are running for.
And you said that's pretty easy to do, right, Carrie? It's like beginners level type stuff.
I've never done it before until this week, and I've swapped 3 Vita motherboards this week.
Oh, they're $66.
He's swapping Vita motherboards.
I don't
3
know
of
if
them.
It'd be worth
being
it,
a little Vita slut. It's been all up in 3 different motherboards this week. I hope you're using protection.
Bastard.
You put gloves on when you get up in them Vitas?
I don't know, guys. It's I see, as someone who's been, a modder and, going all the way back to the Nintendo Wii, my stuff has all been modded. And, I had those PlayStation 3s that had like every PlayStation game on them. But when PlayStation 4 came around and I started going digital, I remember Briar talking to me about this 5 years ago. It kind of buffed the need to mod things because of all the free shit you get. It's like now I look at my Vita, I got a library of like 150 games on there. And it's like they're all licensed. They all belong to me as long as I have my PlayStation Plus. And I still got PSPs that can play, 64 and all the old consoles and all that shit's still on there. But it's like, I guess if you have no other means, this would be a good thing to do. But I feel like the way that digital downloads has affected the culture of gaming, and having things like Xbox Live and having things like PlayStation Plus, it's kind of giving you a reason to not mod. That was actually a reason that I stopped modding my Vita, because I have a PlayStation TV that's modded. That still has the old, the Henkaku on it. But I was looking at, the PlayStation 3, and I was like, what games am I missing, by not upgrading? And so I was like, it's probably more worth it to just go ahead and get my digital downloads, because I can keep those forever and it's all licensed. And so that's.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say I got a question for you guys. Maybe possibly two. Why do you think it always comes down to the modding community to make something better than it was when it originally released? And why do you think they hold
legal
systems
reasons
back like that?
PlayStation can't release a console that does emulation for
that.
No, but it could release one that allows you to overclock it.
Yeah, but
virtual console. There's no reason that the Vita couldn't have had a VC.
There's a reason that the Vita is running at the clock it does. It's to preserve battery life, right? I'm sure if Gary overclocks his PS Vita and tries to run it at that clock on just battery, it's going to run through that battery pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, I mean, you can put that disclaimer out there. You don't get to explain battery life to me. We grew up in the era of Game Boys, Game Gear.
I've seen some double A's.
6 double A's, man. Like on vacation, I'm just just throwing them in the back as I'm replacing them. You know what I mean?
That Game Gear was rough. Well,
I mean,
both sides.
Game Gear was rough.
the versatility of it is what I'm defending here. And I'm not saying that one's better than the other, BC. For me, I've got both. I've got a legitimate Vita. This does things that my legitimate can't. So for me, it's not so much about I want free games, the free games are enticing me. Like, I'm not using this for piracy purposes. I'm using
it
this
for emulation. I understand, and that's a huge draw. Yeah,
PC remote play, which is something
that's a big deal.
I've wanted. From my perspective, yes, Sony could have put out an emulator. You know, they could have had a virtual console. Nintendo have been doing it. They've put out virtual consoles that let you have access to older games. There's no reason that Sony couldn't have had a virtual console.
Well, let me just say this real quick. I saw you talking about this on Twitter, and then when I saw our private tweet where you showed us the actual Vita, the one-to-one comparison of what was going on with your PC, I told you, if I hadn't saw it with my own eyes, I would not have believed that. I don't know if that's a licensing issue that Sony couldn't have done. I think it's something like that, saying that you can, play your PC through this console. I think that's something they could have done that would have given the Vita, much more reason for people to hold on to. If you could, play Wi-Fi, your PC games, walking around your house the way you were doing, playing Doom. I saw that shit. I was like, I can't, you were going, 100-something frames on the Vita? I couldn't believe it.
The Vita display's capped at 60, but yeah, the stream was 200 frames.
So there's something else you're not mentioning as well, Gary, that I remember you bringing up in our private chat, was that you put some sort of a we don't know the real reason Gary's also using this is for portable porn on the go. You talked about a theme where you had to touch screen the girl's boobies to unlock it or something. What was up with that?
He got blisters on his thumbs.
I mean, this does open you up to custom themes as well, so you're not limited to the themes on the PSN store. And yes, there is a sizable hentai theme community there. So if you want to swipe down on the panties to peel them off the character to open your Vita, there's a theme for that. I mean, that was probably the biggest draw. I'm going to be honest with you.
Actually, draw.
I'm playing a charming little game that I found on the Vita this week. I didn't actually realize what it was. I saw the title and I was immediately intrigued. There was 2 anime girls on the front. It's a visual novel, and the title was called Nurse Love Addiction. And I was like, ooh, let's see where this one goes. Starts off slow, very much like Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yep, that's why I never played it.
But it turns out now, 3 hours in, it's a coming-of-age tale of 2 sisters going to a nursing college that's all girls and discovering that everyone at the college is a lesbian. So it's just...
What are you doing with your time? What is going on here?
Don't even try to front, Beastly. We've seen your desktop.
I don't want to hear that shit. There was nothing bad on my fucking desktop. You can try that shit. Marina Abramovic.
We can revisit. We can revisit Beastly. It is immortalized on Twitch archives for at least 70 more days.
I give up.
It was weird that you had a nude picture of Hillary Clinton on there. That was just weird.
Yeah. I mean,
what's this goddamn monitor now?
You went there with Hillary Clinton.
There was a time. There was a time in the 90s.
You said that, Gary? Really? Really? No.
So the answer to that question, if you ask Gary, would you with Hillary Clinton?
To be totally honest, yes. Back when Hillary Clinton was married, when she was the first lady, she was an attractive chick. I just didn't know that she was the devil incarnate. And I had no idea that she had a penchant for such unattractive pantsuits much years later that kind of negated any sexual attraction she had in the past. It's weird.
The pantsuits.
Fucking
Hillary Clinton, 1985. Let's see what we get.
Oh, man.
Not bad.
Revolver time travels. Here we go.
Revolver's not allowed to Google. Actually, forget that.
Yes,
yeah, you're right.
She's a pretty little lady. She's a pretty little lady.
You almost broke the rule.
So yeah, that was that was my topic on the Vita, and all I would say is if you are looking for a versatile little handheld that will emulate the shit out of your life, and yeah, if you're unscrupulous, has piracy, 3.60 Vita, it's changed my life. I've just bought a pink and white one that's coming in from Japan, and I will update the podcast with screenshots and.
I'll definitely
you can get as many pink Vitas as you want, Gary. It's not going to fill the hole for that.
How
pink
old is the 3.60 hardware? Because I'd imagine
it's about a year and a half old, Briar.
About 18 months.
There's a lot of people out there, me included, that have Vitas that we haven't even turned on in
Yours might be, Briar.
significant time.
I would comfortably say yes, that yours would be ready to go if it.
Right? I'm kind of
never known you to turn yours on or
it might
play
be
your
worth
Vitas.
doing, Briar, just for the PC. Gary, question: do you know if the PlayStation TV has the same capabilities as far as Hinkaku?
It does indeed. You just need to download a whitelist because the PlayStation TV by default has a lot of the game's supports turned off. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely.
I can play like my PC and everything.
Yeah, but why would you play your PC on your PlayStation TV?
I just want to see if it works.
Well, it will work, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of going ahead and pulling the trigger on one of those motherboards. I love modding. I love that piracy. You know, I'm a pirate, the real kind. Let us know in the comments how you feel about piracy. If you'd be willing to download games, do you care? Do you have a heart? Do you have a moralistic compass? And you say no. Let us know.
We were supposed to go into this and nail Gary to the wall. The fact that he's talking about a Vita, and I'm pretty sure every one of us went away sold. So once again, the long Vita dick of Gary Diaz has made its way into our wallets.
I was actively searching drawers for Vitas to mod now. Honestly, if anyone in the chat or anyone that wants to hit me up on Twitter has a 3.6 Vita and wants advice on how to do this, again, I'm not going to advocate the piracy personally. That's not something I want to promote, but I certainly would promote doing this because I think that you unlock your Vita for so much more than it was ever capable of.
The PC connection functionality seems really appealing to me. Just being able to, just being able to remotely play my PC, a game
on a handheld.
Yeah, on a handheld. I got a question. Really good. You almost sold me on the NVIDIA Shield tablet way back when you were doing it with that.
The Shield is good, but the problem with the Shield was, whilst you had it at a higher resolution and a larger screen, you needed to carry around like a controller or an adapter to lock the controller onto it. The fact that this is one device and that I can pick up one single unit and have buttons on it and everything's there ready to go, to me makes the compromise.
Have you tried Destiny on your
Ash
PC?
Ash in the comments just said, "We don't have Vitas. We respect ourselves."
Look at Gary. Gary just.
I'm getting one.
Gary, let me ask you a question. Have you tried Destiny PC on through the Vita? And if you did, does it work at all?
It absolutely works. It's
right. That'd be a way for you to go, man. Like if you're just chilling, you're near your homestead, and you're just walking around the house, or dropping a deuce like Willie.
What's really cool is, and actually,
when I'm streaming, I could continue to play when I go to a bathroom break.
That would mess. Don't even tell people that's what
you're doing. Turn on
the
back camera of the Vita.
Don't even tell people that's what you're doing.
Turn on the back camera of the Vita.
What's really cool, actually, is certain game types that you wouldn't previously have been interested in. Like indies, where like to the moon or Finding Paradise and things like that, like indie games that are a Bird Story, Owlboy, anything that's like an 18-bit kind of story game. The fact that you can now play it on a handheld makes it far more appealing than sitting there in front of a PC and playing like a 6-hour pixel art adventure. At least personally to me, I find condensing the graphics down makes it more palatable. And also the fact that you got the touchscreen of it is still functional. So it becomes a mouse click. So if you're doing RTS or management games, you just tap in it like it's a phone game. It really is a completely different way to enjoy PC games and PC content.
Get one so bad.
So has the Vita removed the Switch as your premium predominant handheld at the moment, Gary? Is your Switch collecting dust as you play your Vita?
I will 100% stand by the title that the Vita is the most versatile handheld in 2018. The Switch is a better gaming device because it plays more current games and it's still supported, but it can't do half.
That's an unfounded argument because the Switch has been the Vita has been hacked and modded. Who knows what capabilities the Switch has if the same community had the same access to.
Just been hacked this week.
Who knows? Maybe if I mod my Switch, my fucking dock will actually work and I can play it on my TV for once.
The Switch has just been modded this week, guys. Fine. It will play emulators, so the Switch can now play Wind Waker HD. It's playing Wii U emulators and Wii emulators.
So it's like Hinkaku 1.
Isn't there some controversy though that Nintendo's firmware updates are blowing capacitors on firmware modded Switches?
I don't
believe
know
it
about that.
because they did it with the power. They did it with the dock station, the Nyko ones or whatever, the aftermarket ones. People's Switches were getting bricked just for having an
Put them on there,
aftermarket
yep.
fucking dock.
Blow your shit.
The hell, Nintendo?
Nintendo for life.
I mean, the Vita, not the Vita mod, the Switch mod, and again, I'm novice to it. I've not done it myself, but apparently it's actually not a Switch vulnerability. It's a Tegra X1 vulnerability, the chip that they use in it, and they can't patch it out. It's unpatchable. It's just a vulnerability on the actual code of the Tegra X1. So modders can just have a field day with it. Nintendo can never stop it, unless they move away from the Tegra X1.
They could do the thing to where if you sign in to their services or something, like it breaks your system.
You can't patch it out. It's like I said, it's coded in, so it's just something else there. But yeah, that's
Ash raises an interesting question. How many Vitas do you own right now, Gary?
Gary, yeah.
I'm actually thinking of selling one because some of them are surplus to demand now, and they're just things that I don't need or have. Like they're not special edition color variants, but at present time, right now, I'm at 7.
That's fucking stupid. I mean, wow, Gary, you got a hell
I
of
honestly thought that number was going to be higher. To be honest,
you
thought
did.
it was going to be higher. He has one Vita for every day of the week.
He has one kid and one wife.
No, I'm going to keep 4.
Vitas.
I'm selling
This
3 of
is
them.
my
I'm gonna
Monday
keep-
Vita.
I'm going to
This is
keep
my
4.
Tuesday Vita.
So I want a fat. I want an EU legit, US store legit, a fat hacked and a slim hacked, and then that's it. I'm done.
why do you want a fat hacked and a slim hacked?
OLED screen. No. There is actually a reason. So the Vita Fat had an OLED screen. So the OLED screens were like stunning. They still are stunning. You know, the colors are just unrivaled. The Slim, the material, the build quality was reduced. The battery life was increased, but they put an LCD screen in with a lot less brightness. So it just doesn't look as good. So for me, I want it because the Slim has lots and lots of other benefits in terms of battery life, in terms of form factor. But then I lose the screen.
I don't understand though, Gary. I mean, what's the point of getting them both? I mean, which one would you choose? Are you some days going to feel like having a better screen and some days feeling like having a smaller form factor with a larger battery?
Absolutely.
I feel like the Slim, you can definitely see the difference in the screen, but it's so much more comfortable to use.
Yeah, I've never even tried one.
So I don't actually use any of my Vitas without adapters or grips. I find them an uncomfortable handheld. Like the form factor of it, the design is not good.
Can I see that?
The people watching on audio, this is a the people watching on video, this is just a standard grip. This isn't even a power grip for the Fat. And what that does is it gives you, molded handhelds, almost like a steering wheel that holds it. And the whole point of this is that your fingers don't naturally rest on the touchpad. So you have to lean in to hit the touchpad buttons, which stops a lot of that issue. And as you can see, my hand is not touching the Vita shell at all. I have something that's ergonomic to grip. The Slim itself has L2, R2 buttons and L3, R3 buttons. So your remote play is fully button press, not touchscreen, capacitive. So again, they're different devices. The Slim tends to be the thing that I'd remote play PC on, where I need additional buttons.
It looks awesome, but real G's don't use protection, Gary. Okay.
What's our next topic? Oh, let's do our ad read. We'd like to thank this week's sponsor, On Air PC, for another wonderful week of PC gaming and streaming. If you're interested in becoming a streamer, if you're interested in getting into PC gaming or podcasting, On Air PC is the first place you should look. It's a personalized service. You call them up. They have a phone number. It's 330-850-1525. You call him up. You talk to Ryan. He helps you out. He tells you, here's what you need to do what you want to do, right? It's not just a list of parts and specifications that you go on a website and you don't know what you're looking at. You tell him what you want to do. You tell him your budget, and he helps you out. He gives you the best computer for what you're going to use that you can get. It's a really nice service. We want to thank On Air PC for the sponsorship for another week. It's 330-850-1525. Thank you, Ryan. I
can say, though, and, it's not bowing down and kissing any motherfucking rings because I don't do that shit. On Air PC is really awesome, guys. I bought my PC through that organization, and Ryan was very helpful. Got me everything I need. I don't think I'll be upgrading for a while. When I do, GPUs will probably be a lot cheaper than they are now, but he asked me what I needed, got me exactly what I wanted at a great price, and all shitting aside, it was a fantastic ad read, by the way, Briar. If you guys are looking to jump into the PC world, looking to expand your horizons as a gamer, On-Air PC is probably the best stop you guys can make. So definitely check them out.
And if you buy a PC, you can then play it on your PlayStation Vita. So
that's what I was gonna say. Maybe you want to build a PC so that you can use your Vita, so you can remote play.
Fucking Gary, man.
You don't even need a monitor.
You just sold somebody, Gary. You sold
Save money on a monitor and just buy a Vita instead. That is your new monitor.
That's all you got. That's fucking genius.
You find a monitor for $60. You can't do it.
I can't wait till whoever did the next topic reads it. It looks really, really interesting. It looks like a hard topic.
It is my topic.
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's a soft topic.
You're right.
Well, originally it was meant to be gaming experiences that you've had from your past that you just can't get anymore, or things that aren't available to you anymore. A culprit who we don't know, will remain unnamed, got into our show notes before and has changed it from gaming experiences to penises that you've had in the past that you can't play with anymore or just can't experience. So I'm going to leave this one open to you guys. Are there any gaming experiences that have either shut down their servers or you can't go to, things like arcades? Or are there any penises that you've had that are now no longer available to you? Really,
yes.
The choice is
Gary
yours.
Diaz, I express that to you every evening in our private messages. You can't
He
just
does.
leave me hanging like that.
Leave him hanging, too.
Leave me hanging.
To
Not
the
the man I
left.
used to be. I don't have stamina like that anymore, Wilson.
Services that are no longer available. First one, hands down, that comes to mind, Nintendo Power Magazine. Oh my god, I loved it, man. And
Nintendo Power's over?
oh yeah,
You fucking kidding me?
All
it's
magazines
been over
are
for a while now. Yeah.
Actually, they don't make paper anymore. interestingly.
Shit.
It's all holograms now, bruh. But like,
We
no,
go
they
to
don't even
Nintendo
have an. They
Power.
don't even have
I
an
wanna know who
online.
I want to know who the last guy is that's walking into their local corner store and buying that paper copy of Hustler, because they get one that comes in, it's got like the blue wrapper over it so you can't see the titties, and it's sitting at the top of the newsstand. Who's still buying paper pornography in 2018?
Very old people. Very old, horny people.
Yes.
Some
Old
people
horny.
like the physicalness of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a physical item.
Somebody's
If
got to
anyone
bring
knows-
that shit out into the woods, right? I mean, how else does it fucking get there?
Somebody's got to bring that shit out the woods.
If
It's a lot
anyone
easier to
knows
take a
someone-
magazine than a router and a modem in a PC out to the woods.
If anyone knows someone that's still got a paper subscription to Hustler, that is a Revolver guest that I want on.
That's a good
I want to
point.
know who they are and why they're doing it. Sorry,
Talk to
Wilson,
me
I
about your
hijacked that.
porn habits, please.
way more interesting than my story with Nintendo Power. Unlike Hustler, Nintendo Power had little coupons in the back that you could cut out, and if you saved enough of them up, you could get some cool shit. Like I got a replica James Bond GoldenEye watch that had like the little health bar and armor
Shit.
hologram on it.
Nice.
It had like the laser pointer and stuff on it. It was pretty cool. It was dope. Nintendo Power was awesome, man. It was just something about like sitting down and seeing stuff that was coming out, or maybe another look at a game that you hadn't seen before that may change your mind. And then they changed their ad campaign about 3/4 of the way through their life and started doing like weird shit. Like, what was it? Like some of their advertisements was like a jar of toenail clippings on one of the page. Like it just got really weird towards the end. Like I wasn't a big fan, but
A game that
toward the end, didn't they actually? Nintendo stopped publishing Nintendo Power, and somebody else was publishing Nintendo Power.
I think so. I think you're right about
who
that.
it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't Nintendo publishing it toward the end.
Yep.
Maybe that's where the toenail clippings came in.
Maybe you're right.
Abstract company that took it over. I like it.
Yeah.
a game that I used to play with my family, believe it or not. I remember my boys were little, 7, 8 years old, and Kate and I, you kind of knew in our relationship, but we had a ton of fun playing the old Resistance games, and we would get online and play on those servers. And that's something that can't happen anymore because, of course, Sony shut those down. So it's kind of like the skating rink down the street that no longer exists. The memories are,
the PS3 games.
yeah.
Huh.
They've been shut down for years. But it was a lot of fun getting into those multiplayer matches and playing with, my kids and for me, that's always a fond memory, and it always sucks when a game that you happen to like that many others probably don't take a fancy to get shut down. And that was just that situation for us with Resistance. I thought it was a great game.
It is really tough, man. Like, because you're powerless to really do anything to help the situation out, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
So, Briar, do you have any? Yeah, okay, I'll go for it. For me, actually, there's one of them that is a recent one, and that's Lawbreakers, which is an odd.
I mean,
an odd
You just gotta keep the meme alive, don't you? Unlike the game.
Just fucking laughs in his face.
Oh shit!
Oh, is that painful for you?
God damn.
Man, Damon got Buffalo's number because he's not such a bad guy after all.
Everybody gets better when they wake up, Gary.
That was the exact laugh that he laughed at Buffalo when he got left hooked.
I'm
stood over him.
Feeling like a little buffalo.
Gary's giving you the double finger up the nose right now.
Double up the nose. The buffalo finger.
The buffalo. Give me the double buffalo.
That's me again, Gary.
That's
That would
it.
get you back.
So, Lawbreakers, right?
That was hard.
Even if we wanted it, even if all of us here, the four of us got together and queued into a lobby, we would still be matchmaking at the end of the show. Like, you physically cannot play that game. Like, no matter, even if you wanted to,
So sad.
you couldn't. I had again, I'm not going to say it was the best game in the world, but I didn't think it was absolute dog shit. Like, it was passable time. And I'd like to be able to at least, if the mood struck me, play the game. So Lawbreakers is definitely one, but more for me, and it's just a generic topic, is MMORPGs. I'm not going to go through them all, but there's a lot of games that I used to play that just either the servers have wrapped, or if the servers haven't wrapped, there's just like moments in time when something is just relevant and people are talking about it and it's the zeitgeist and things are happening. Like Anarchy Online now, that game's 16, 17 years old. Even if I went and turned it back on now, it wouldn't be the same. It's not the same thing. It's not that point in time that I had that it was good. Same as I'm sure that you could find Super Street Fighter 2 somewhere in an arcade, and there's just like you hanging out on your own in a quiet room while there's like a couple of junkies shooting up in the corner, just trying to play it. Like, it's not the same thing. You can't have that moment. So it's just sad to me that I thought of those things and thought I can never have that experience again. Brian, have you got anything like that that's...
Boy, Gary, I was going to say, no, I couldn't think of anything. Like, for the most part, when I move off of a game, like, I don't really go back to it. But as soon as you said Street Fighter arcade cabinet, that is a moment in time that you cannot go back to.
It sure is. Oh, my
Like,
God.
holy shit. Like, that hit me in the feels as soon as you said it. There was a time in my life where I used to go to the arcade, and I'd literally stand in line with quarters. And there's like this special little queuing system where you put your quarter on the cabinet, and then you tried to win as many matches as you could to make that quarter last as long as you could. And man, it was a fun thing to do. And then the game came out on the home console, so you could practice at home. But my whole point of practicing at home was still to go to the arcade.
Arcade and whoop ass, yeah.
Right? It was a really cool time.
I was that kid with fucking Nintendo Power in the arcade for Mortal Kombat 2 doing all the fatalities on the high school
I would have did
kids.
Work on you, Willie.
I believe it, okay? I'm just saying, in my neighborhood, though, I was king shit.
You were
right?
the motherfucking man. I got
but
you.
So,
it's funny you say that, Briar, about the quarter means I got next game, because I got a buddy that up in Northern Illinois that has I'm pretty sure he's over 30 arcade cabinets right now in his basement. And he has meetups and parties and stuff all the time. And
naked women.
We were all around, yeah, totally. And we were all around the Simpsons cabinet, and I was standing there, and someone said, "I got next game." And I said, "Oh, bitch," and put my quarter up there. I said, "You know what that means, don't you?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right. You're younger. You never actually had the arcade experience. That means I got next game, bro." Like, it was just funny that people didn't.
We didn't have that. Well, again, my generation, maybe like a few years younger, but I had the game that I remember, the beat 'em up that I remember doing that with was Samurai Showdown. I don't know if you guys ever
wasn't a
played
beat
that.
'em up, though.
Yeah.
That was just a
Yeah,
fighter.
it's a cool game.
It was a beat 'em up Samurai Showdown. It was.
It's not a beat 'em up.
It was a
Why is that
fighting
not?
game.
That's a beat 'em up, isn't it?
No, it's a fighting game. Samurai Showdown is a fighting game.
There's two
Beat 'em up
guys
like
on the
Double
screen.
Dragon.
Yeah,
Beat 'em
Battle
up.
that's a fight. Beat 'em up is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or X-Men.
Yes.
Those are beat 'em up. Streets of Rage. Just
Streets of Rage, Final
I-
I'm
Fight.
talking about a fighting
Until-
game where 1 versus 1.
For the past
What the fuck's
32
wrong
years of
with
my
you?
life, I've called them beat 'em ups. No one's ever
Wait.
corrected me till now.
You know, there's other things that have changed, like shooter. When you used to think of a shooter, didn't you used to think of like one of them side-scrolling?
Yeah.
A shoot 'em
Like-
up, a shmup.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
were just called shooters back in the day.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
there's
you're
shooters are like first-person shooters,
Yep.
and shmups are shmups.
Third person
Yeah.
shooters. And, yeah.
Shmups. First time for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samurai Showdown was the shit. I just remember there was a really fat samurai, like a sort of like guy in a kind of nappy kimono kind of thing, and then another dude with like looked like Guru Mark of the Wolves, had like black sort of spiky hair back. I must have spent about at least $200 on that machine, like alone, and cruising.
Everybody
was
has games. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
What was the game that made by the same guys who made Samurai Showdown? But it was like all the like
Art of
the
Fighting.
no, it was all the kind of monsters.
Primal Rage.
No,
Primal Rage was dope.
it was
man.
like the Mummy and like Vampire.
Oh,
and
Darkstalkers.
Darkstalkers. Yeah, that was.
But
a
that
really cool
wasn't
game,
made
too.
by SNK. That's also made by Capcom.
Oh, that was made by Capcom. My bad.
The arcade game that really got me probably the most is the same one that Wilson said. I probably spent $200 to $300 in the arcade during that time. My brother and I would just sit out there and camp. We sounded like a laundry machine when we walked through the damn arcade. We had so many quarters in our pocket, and even to this day, I could probably just off the top of my head say any fatality or any move in that game. Probably Mortal Kombat 3 too. We did so much research. I had every poster in my bedroom. I knew every fucking move. It was just insane.
The one game that I can remember that really hits home for me, other than Mortal Kombat, was the X-Men beat 'em up game, and we had I was like 9 years old, and we had like
Children of Adam.
we had like a birthday party, and it was one of the first times that like me and 3 other friends looked at each other and we're like, we're gonna beat
This shit.
Like
yeah.
we're gonna sit down and pump some quarters into this and beat this damn game. And that was just cool experience, man.
It was really a special
Gone.
feeling too. It's on PlayStation 3. I don't think they ported it to the 4, but that and the Turtles in Time game have all been ported to the PS3. They should bring it to the 4. It's a lot of fun playing online with your friends. I wish we could do that together.
I'm trying to think. I'm really hazy on these memories, but I seem to remember having an adapter that hooked up to the cable that hooked into it went from my Sega Genesis to my actual cable connection.
Oh,
And I could play Eternal. Was it Eternal Champions?
Eternal Champions.
the Sega channel.
Online. Yeah, the Sega channel.
man.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
No. No. I have a friend who has one of those adapters still in like his collection.
My first time hearing this. Wow. Seriously?
It was
Yeah,
there was
Sega
a,
channel. You put the cartridge in, and the cable literally, like
Connected
you
to the
screw into the
cartridge?
back of your modem.
wasn't
Yeah.
there a
right into
Legend
the
of
cartridge.
Zelda? There was a Legend of Zelda like that, wasn't it? That you could
Yeah,
only play
Super
like
Nintendo had the same thing.
it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
8 p.m.
Crystals,
till 8:30 or some shit. That there was like
Yeah.
this game. You just tune into that channel and you got
And
30
it was
minutes of
cool
Zelda.
because that kind of gave. It's really awesome you bring that up, Gary, because that had a small part in inspiring the Legend of Zelda randomizer community.
Really?
I believe it was called Zelda no Detsu or something like that, and that was where they basically would change the game up, and like Gary said, from a certain amount of time you were allowed to play it and get on. That's really crazy, man, that you bring that up. I forgot all about that shit. Super Nintendo had it, Sega had it.
I remember them talking about it. It was like a,
They're so
TV
old.
channel you tune into, and it would be like it was like a radio broadcast, like a live show, but they were like streaming the game directly to you. Like it was like the original stream.
It was really cool, man. And man, you had to live in a rural area back in the day to have cable internet, man. We didn't get cable internet out at my place until probably like the Halo 2 days.
Really?
It took a while. I lived out in the country,
Yeah,
man.
you're
I lived out in the
right.
sticks.
I didn't get, the Xbox 360 came out and everybody was playing online, and I still wasn't ready to make the leap to play online. I think
Yo,
I first heard.
I had a Dreamcast hooked up to cable internet with a mouse and keyboard.
Nice.
You were a baller, dude.
I was playing Quake
You're
Arena on a Dreamcast
Mouse
with
and
fucking
keyboard.
cable internet.
Dude, the Dreamcast was so ahead of its time. Dude.
It was
So ahead of its time. If that thing would have came out like 5 years later, it probably would have done.
I used to look at porn on my Dreamcast all the time. It had
I
this
used
little,
to.
this little
It used
blue
to be
disc.
my only.
You had to put the little
computer.
network disc in there.
Yeah, you had to put the
Right.
browser. You had to put the
Yeah,
browser into the
It was
thing.
a browser
right?
disc, yeah.
It was my only computer at my house. Like I didn't have another way to
Wow.
get on the internet because I didn't have at the time phones weren't smartphones.
Phones.
So I remember I was buying car parts off of eBay on my Dreamcast.
That's awesome, dude. That is so gangster. I wish we had a picture of you back in the day so we
Right.
could just
Yeah.
meme the hell out of it, like just alpha nerd.
I still have the
memes.
Dreamcast keyboard around somewhere.
That's awesome, dude. Original Xbox Live is a good one. There was a cool story about when they were getting rid of the original Xbox Live. So the way it worked was if you were signed in, you could stay on Xbox Live after the shutoff date as long as you
really?
stayed signed in. So there was a group of about 175-ish Halo 2 players who just never turned their system off for like a couple months, and like they made
kept it going.
news. Yeah, they just kept it going and just kept matching each other in the same lobbies, and it ended up going down to 2 guys. It was just 2 people, and this was months.
Couldn't let it go.
Just months after they had shut down Xbox Live. But another honorable mention: the original, the Wii Shop on the original Wii. Man, that's not around anymore. Like remember the music? Bam, 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 bam. You guys know?
That's shut down recently. hasn't it?
Damn,
That's like it only happened like last month or something, didn't it? That they said
it was
that the
pretty
Wii Shop was
recent.
shutting down
Yeah, and
because there's a
dude,
lot of emulation on the Wii Shop that's not available on anything else, like legally. Like
was
you can only
dope,
get.
man.
Yeah.
I used to log in all the time, like once a month, every couple months, and like refresh just to see what they added to it back
You know
when the Wii was relevant.
You know what's fucking dumb? Is I bought a bunch of games on the Wii for like the what was it called? The Wii Shop. Like you buy like old NES games.
Yeah.
Virtual
Then I
console.
bought a bunch of them for the 3D NS or the 3D.
3DNS.
I don't think I bought any for the Wii U because I think we turned on our Wii U for like on Christmas Day and then it just turned off and never got turned back on again.
Right. Right.
But I would happily buy them again for the Switch. Like I'd happily buy them again for the
What
Switch.
do you think is the reason they haven't done that? To me, that just makes no sense. It's like
They're
you
like,
have to be
we have
insane.
enough money. Fuck it.
Are you
We're
kidding
done.
me?
I feel
That just
like
makes
it's
I'm gonna go
for-
pour champagne on some hookers. Let's go.
I need a job at Nintendo. Shit.
I feel like if you look at what
Champagne
they're-
and hookers, nailed it.
I feel like if you
Damn.
look at what they're doing with the Switch, it's easier to sell it in the mobile phone model than it is to sell it as a virtual console. So to give you ports of old games as like microtransactions, like you've got Super Nintendo Versus, which was like an old arcade version of Nintendo of Mario that you can buy now, and I think it's like $2, and you get like about 8 levels of Mario that was an arcade exclusive. People seem, and that's in the top 10 like consistently every month in terms of like people who are buying it. I feel like Nintendo have just
Structure.
I feel like they can just release these games. Like if they gave you Link to the Past and it was $2 as a real Switch game that was just like a thing in there, you'd probably buy it.
It'd be $8.
Yeah. I would buy it for $8. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a $35 SNES cartridge right now. $30 ish. But like I feel like they're completely redoing the Wii Shop infrastructure, and that's why we haven't seen anything yet. I think
Because the Switch shop is it's barren. It's a
if
barren.
there's one thing Nintendo likes more than champagne and hookers, it's more
Money.
champagne and hookers.
Mm.
So if they
They like to eat sushi
Karaoke.
off of hookers. That's
yeah, that's the next
Eat
level.
the sushi out of the crack. It might be
they like to do it in a bar that's completely filled with cats too. It is next level fucking bling.
I've
over there
played
in Nintendo.
You see
Yakuza, and
Gary in
I
the
know the Japan.
background.
I've played Yakuza, and I know that the Japanese like nothing more than karaoke. Man, that's what if we could like get them karaoke bars, that would get you virtual console.
Mm.
I'm down. I'm
What
down.
we got to do, man.
All right, what's our
What the
next
fuck is
topic?
happening? Let's get on
Willie.
some Destiny news.
Oh snap! Finally, we're gonna talk about a little Destiny because it's relevant.
Yeah, I don't mind it, bro.
There's an expansion coming up, Warmind, and there was an event called the Summit, which went over pretty well. So the Summit was very positively received amongst those who attended as a legit collaboration between community and developers, and not a publicity stunt to just push another empty DLC. NDAs are still ripe, and they're being lifted once Bungie has had a chance to reveal their content first, which is understandable. But basically, I know you guys have been paying attention to this. I just kind of wanted to get a general consensus about how excited everyone is for this, because I'm not going to lie, I was not excited going into Curse of Osiris at all. Like, and with some of the stuff that they're talking about coming in Warmind, like, you know, obviously we're getting more story. We're getting a new PvE mode called Escalation Protocol. We're getting new weapons and gear, raid layer, masterwork, exotic weapons, which are a pretty big deal, which were a lot bigger than what we thought they were going to be. So how excited are you guys to go into this on May 8th? Because I'm fucking pumped.
I'm legitimately excited. I'll be honest with you. All those small steps that we've had leading up to this, every time they've released an update and it said, well, it doesn't fix the whole game, but it's a small step in the right direction. Well, we've had like 6 or 7 of those small steps in the right direction. It does feel like we're getting toward a game that we really want to play. And when they start talking about like extending the grind for light level and adding in like these quests for the masterwork exotics, and you know, the way they talked about how there are going to be secrets in this, you know, in this that the community may never discover, you know, like that stuff gets me really excited. Like that's the kind of stuff I really love about Destiny. I can't wait to get going with it. The story this time around with Anna Bray and her connection to the Golden Age. I know that sometimes they miss these story notes, so I'm trying to tempering my expectations on that. But it is one of the more interesting things about the Destiny universe.
I agree, man.
I didn't get a chance to really delve deep into, you know, any more than the trailer that was released. But when I saw the trailer, none of the other crazy shit had happened in my life, and it looked exciting. But I will say this in all transparency: whenever something new is released for Destiny, I get excited for that, because I like playing new things in Destiny. I like experiencing new things in Destiny. So for me, it's
hype good.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw it, Kate and I watched it together, and we were like, oh shit, and you know, we're ready to go. So I mean, for me, Bungie has a way of doing that, and Destiny is probably the only game that does that consistently. Is where they breathe new life into a game that's been out for a prolonged period of time and make you excited like day one again. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
So what do you guys think then has been, or why do you think the general reception outside of the community has been lukewarm to negative? Which is just something that I kind of wanted to explore.
What do you mean outside the community?
People are cautiously optimistic. You know what I mean?
As far as I can see, and this is just, again, IGN, maybe not, because they're a little bit closer to it. So I'd say IGN themselves are maybe exempt from it. But other news, channels, YouTubers that are just generalist YouTubers, gaming podcasts, the larger ones, all seem to be really disappointed by this news. And the slant that they're taking, the angle they're taking is, more reuse shit. We're going back to Mars. We're looking at the Hive again, doing this. That seems to be the tone. So do you think this is more of a love letter to the fans of the series and not necessarily, because we've always seen them catering to the casual player, catering to the person who is, pick up and play and put down. Do you think this is a mark that they're kind of looking to do some fan service?
Yeah, I think that's the whole reason why they had this summit to begin with, was to bridge the gap that was the disconnect between what we were saying and what we actually wanted. Because I'm a firm believer to this day that we put ourselves in the position that is D2 with all the things that we asked for, but it got lost in translation along the way. But I do feel like this is more of a nod towards the hardcore player, with stuff like Redrix's Claymore, the pulse rifle that you got to get from ranked play in the Crucible. Like, that right there is a nod to the hardcore player. That brings me back to the Jewel of Osiris chase in House of Wolves. You wanted that solar hand cannon, you know what I mean? Like, this is that prize at the end of the tunnel, and there's going to be things on the PvE end, like Briar was saying, secrets. There's whole new set of gear in the Escalation Protocol, which it has its own set of
mode that they haven't even announced yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I I don't know, man. I was saying this about a month or two ago that I feel that D2 is way on its up and up right now. And do I think that this is going to be the end all expansion that fixes everything? No, I would say wait till September before asking that question. This is definitely for the people who want to come back and want meaningful loot and something to do, and to satiate the appetites of the people who are still playing. Like myself, like Briar, Beastly. I know you still play every now and then.
When I get time, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But just remember, you can't please everybody all the time. And like you guys say, they've been kind of catering to the casual crowd for a while with D2, and I think it's good to reach out to the hardcore fan base and give them kind of the thing that made Destiny 1 so popular. And of course the casual crowd might be a little more upset, but like I said, you can't please everyone all the time. So I think it's a smart move.
It was just an interesting thought to have. I mean, specifically the podcasts and media sources I listen to try to keep me honest, kind of funny, because I feel like they are a console-centric kind of generalist podcast that don't focus on being specific to anything, and the Know are a relatively good source of a news recap. They're not investigative reporters. They'll recap what other people have said, but it gives me a barometer for, outside of our bubble, because the Destiny community, we've discussed this, Briar, tends to be a bit of an echo chamber. So I just try to bring these other, if a populist podcast is saying something, then generally speaking, that's a reflection of the wider community. Obviously there's some
that can be its own bubble though, right, Gary? Like if you've spent the last, let's say you played Destiny and you liked it, Destiny 2 and you liked it, then you fell off and then you played Osiris and you're like, okay, this is really lackluster. Plus you've been hearing all this negative news about how Bungie's been doing this to the community and the whole Eververse store and XP gating and like all that stuff, right? It's just one bad story. Okay, so and you haven't even thought about Destiny since, let's say, December, and then all of a sudden the trailer comes out, and your thoughts are still what you were thinking about the game back in December.
Yeah,
those people definitely still need to be kind of won over by Bungie. People who are in our ecosphere, like our little like bubble, who played Destiny all the time and think about it all the time and are talking to other people who are playing it all the time, have been watching Bungie kind of right this ship over time, but unless you're reading the This Week at Bungie blog, you have no idea about that. So like now that they've got to do that to the public as well as like the hardcore community.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see the two sides of the coin, because I feel like within our community, Warmind has been really positively received, and I'm personally looking forward to it. I know obviously I've sounded negative here, but that was just to try to bounce a different angle. I'm actually positive going into it. I think it's going to be fun to play and fun to do. It seemed like a real disconnect, because I watched the reveal with Bungie and was really impressed by it, and then I watched a couple of news outlets that covered it the next day, and then there was a real dichotomy there. So yeah, interesting to see. Well, hopefully it all wins people over.
Yeah. Did you guys see that? Do you guys remember Owl Sector, the ARG? It was right before Rise of Iron. I don't know if you remember this. Players in the Crucible and PvE activities started getting all those little Siva nanites that would go around the player's head.
Yeah.
Owl Sector's been showing up in people's streams lately, spitting out a bunch of Rasputin gibberish. So I'm wondering if we're going to get another nanites, or some sort of a ARG or something. Have you heard about that, Briar? I've actually seen it firsthand. Owl Sector's been coming, so I thought that was really interesting.
Funniest thing I saw was Fallout Plays was streaming.
Yeah, and I was watching that last night.
Owl Sector came into his chat and spammed that paragraph, and he got banned.
He's like, we could have been patient. Actually, I was watching WTF Game Nation last night, and Owl Sector came in and got banned, and he goes, and Toast and Peanut were like, we could have been patient zero, man, and you guys done fucked that up. Like, they were just kidding or whatever. But
do you think it's really Owl Sector? Like, do you think it's Bungie, or do you think it's somebody in the community being a dick?
Who knows?
When I clicked there's two owl sectors on Twitch, and both are damn near identical. The one that I clicked on and saw being in chat was definitely created around the time that it happened in Destiny 1, whereas one of them has been created recently. So I do believe the one that's going around posting that stuff is legit. Whether or not it means anything, I don't know. It could just be, for fun or whatever. But what masterwork exotic are you guys looking forward to the most? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Sturm 2-tapping in the Crucible looks fucking lit. So...
Yeah, man, Sturm looks fun. I gotta say though, the gun I think I'm most looking forward to.
Just stop, Brian.
For the audio only listeners, Briar has been filleting a Starbucks straw for the past few minutes.
Filleting? That's the choice of words.
We've been trying to remain professional, but goddamn it, he's brought us down to his level.
He done it like he's done it a couple of times. How many times you had a straw, Brian? Shit. Chad's there. Yeah, Chad's talking about him.
The gun I'm most looking forward to seeing is the Sunshot, man. I want to see that fucking Sunshot. The hand cannon, it's 150 rounds per minute. We already know that the explosion is going to be much bigger than it currently is. I want to see what the masterwork does to it. I want to know that it is a masterwork, because not all the exotics are going to get masterworks right away. And I'm really hoping that's going to be one of the ones that gets one right away, because and the Crimson. I'm really looking forward to trying out too.
I think if they're playtesting it months ago, I think it's God damn you, Briar, the fucking straw. I think it is. I think they want to leave a few things for discovery, and I think since they were teasing the playtest, Josh Hamrick was teasing it a few months ago. I think it's coming, but. I want a 2-tap with Sturm in the Crucible, man. That looks like it hits every pleasure zone and gives you that old AS Luna Luck in the Chamber feel.
Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing about the Sturm is that you have to use the Drang, right? You have to start by getting a Drang kill. Then you can switch over to the Sturm for a 2-tap. So it's gonna be super situational, but when that situation is right, you're gonna be like, damn.
Well, there's no timer associated with it.
Right, yeah, you can just run around with like that super powerful bullet.
That's the nice
thing.
thing.
Looks pretty good as well. Like I saw a couple of kills with it, and that's been worked on by the look of it.
Drang's good right now. Like I've been using it, and like my buddy Wendler, he is a huge supporter of the Drang meta right now, and he loves it. But like, didn't I hear also that they're like redoing some perks, like Outlaw supposedly? Like now, when you get a kill with Outlaw, it refreshes the timer on it, so there's not like that awkward period of I got a couple kills and didn't reload. So
yeah, it used to work where Outlaw had a cooldown timer. So basically, if you procced Outlaw, you couldn't proc it again for a certain amount of time. But now it refreshes itself. So every time you get a headshot kill, it just automatically refreshes Outlaw. So you'll as long as you have an active kill going, it'll automatically keep going.
Does anyone know if Buffalo's free from 4 till 6 on a Sunday to fill a podcast slot?
I would like to find out. How about what was his name? Diamond Johnson?
Diamond Bronson.
Always thinking about dicks, man. I swear.
Diamond Johnson. Is better.
That's like another way of saying hard dick. I swear. Only on Revolver.
I had the most massive Diamond Johnson the other day. Like you guys in public.
That's actually a pretty cool name, Willie.
My wife delivered a coffee culotta while I was doing a podcast, and I got a massive Diamond Johnson.
My Johnson was so diamond.
We start some new shit. Hashtag Diamond Johnson, guys. Let's get this work. Oh my God! So the next topic,
we're all excited. So let's move on to the next topic.
The next topic is going to be contentious, and I was wondering why the hell this guy would even bring this up. But this is from Gary Diaz. Should exclusives be banned?
Yeah, I got three topics this week. Apparently, I think the audience can see who's the real workhorse here behind the scenes.
Absolutely. We make up for it in Diamond Johnson's. Go ahead.
So. It was just actually, I put out a tweet, an innocuous tweet, I believe the tweet was around God of War, and I just said I enjoy God of War. It was a great game, but I can't help feeling during playing it that I wish I was playing it on an Xbox One X or a PC. An innocent tweet like that, not loaded with anything that I would have considered bad. I stepped away to masturbate, and 15 minutes later came back, and I had
15 minutes. Let's be realistic. 7 minutes later, you came back.
Well,
after having taken a shower to clean up.
Yeah. 6-minute shower.
It took 7 minutes to brush it out the cat's fur. Anyway.
Oh God. Oh my God.
You're judged by the company you keep.
So, yeah, the question came around because I thought, well, if you track it back logically, if every game was available on every platform, right? God of War was on everything. Halo was on everything. Everything was on everything. Mario was on everything. Would we be in a position where the manufacturers now, to get your business, had to actually offer something unique, had to offer services, features, things like Game Pass, things like remote play, more interesting features in their hardware than just saying, we got God of War, come buy a PlayStation? Because honestly, PlayStation could literally tug on your balls and treat you like shit. Doesn't matter, because they're the only ones that have got, solid first party titles that you want to buy. Xbox are doing so much more for their consumers, but don't have the games there, so it's largely irrelevant. At this point here, that they can have all the features that they want, backward compatibility, Game Pass, change your Xbox avatar, Discord brought in, pretty much everything you could possibly think of.
Did you just get a brain freeze, Brian? That's what you get for deep throating that Starbucks. That's it.
So, the question I'm going to flip over to you guys is: do you think that we should have exclusives anymore, or would gaming be better off without them?
That's what you get, you freaky bastard.
I see where you're coming from, Gary. And me and my boy Conman have actually had this discussion a lot about if everything was just not necessarily under one platform, but if everything was kind of unified in a sense. I tell you who would be really happy about this would be Destiny 2 players on PC.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not opposed to that. I only play on PC to play with, Gary, Briar, Beasley, whoever else is on PC. But I wouldn't be upset if they were allowed to come over, if everybody had the same online service and were able to play together. I think it's a great idea. It's just such a fucking nightmare to get these companies to come together. Is he asking about crossplay, or is he
asking about, because you're talking crossplay?
I'm just saying in general, right? I was talking about crossplay right there, but I'm saying one group of people who would benefit from this situation would be D2 PC players. But I mean, sure, in theory, it all sounds good, but it sounds like a fucking nightmare trying to get all these different companies in the same room working on the same project.
It's an absolute.
So the way it happens, right, is like the way it happens is somebody like Steam does the Steam box, but it catches on, right? Mm-hmm. That's how it goes down, if it ever goes down that way. And I'm with Gary here. Is I kind of think that it would be a benefit for consumers, because instead of consoles competing based on their software exclusives, they have to actually offer a piece of hardware and a suite of services aside from that to compete with other consoles, right? And if you could play God of War on Xbox, PS4, or PC, then the consumer has the choice of which they want to play on, and Microsoft and PlayStation are competing to make better hardware experiences for the games that you're going to play. Like, I actually think it's really cool. It's a cool idea. So with the Steam boxes, basically you'd buy a console, and all the different companies that were selling them, Dell and Alienware, and I know Dell owns Alienware, but there's like half a dozen companies that were selling them. And they'd compete based on, how fast they were, how cool they ran, how quiet they ran, how cool they looked, right? The Steam box didn't really catch on, but the idea being that the software runs on all the Steam boxes, and the hardware, the manufacturers compete to make a better piece of hardware, which you don't have in the console space. You have it a little bit, right? But you have it like once every 8 years.
Yeah,
You know?
and it doesn't really matter because ultimately the Xbox One X is the superior console. If you look at it on a page, it is the best place to play console games. But it can't be leveraged because you don't have the exclusives. So the point I was just trying to make is that forget like the most powerful console. Like you'd have things like the Switch where it's like, well, we can play the games, but we can play them on the go. Or you have like the PlayStation 4 saying you can remote play our games in another room, or Xbox saying, well, with us, we'll let you have a subscription service on our infrastructure. But I just feel like all games, I don't see the negative of it. And people have said to me, well, competition would be lost and console war competition drives up, positivity. But
I think that's short-sighted. They're looking at the paradigm we have instead of the paradigm that you're talking about. I think it's a short-sighted argument.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I completely disagree with all three of my friends here. Competition is very important.
You're not going to hit us, are you?
No, I'm not that kind of guy. But I'll give you one free hit. The second hit.
We know how to trigger Beastly. Put 2 fingers up his nose and then Hadouken him. Just throw it.
It's like a buffalo wave.
So check it out. I have a t-shirt business. I make t-shirts and mugs and mouse pads. If I was to draw up and mock up my own particular design that really takes off, people really, really like that particular design, and they start buying it, there are going to be people out in the world to say, this design is great, but it would be better on Vulcana wool, which costs $3,000 a yard. It's the most expensive fabric in the world. It's just so breathable and light and lasts forever. $3,000.
You're really selling me on this Vulcana wood. This sounds great. Where can I get some of this wool?
Google it. You hope you got the money for it. But there are people out there.
Can I get like underwear made out of this stuff? It's breathable, light. Does it like help? Is it wick away fabric?
I don't know how it deals with stains though, Briar.
Can I get like Briar Rabbit branded underwear that are? What is this wool again called?
How do you spell Volcano wool?
Volcana.
It's Vucana.
Planet Vulcan.
Cana. It's $3,000 a yard.
Oh,
let me make my point.
No, I
didn't interrupt the
That's
fuck
not
out
a
of
sheep,
y'all.
Beastly.
Sorry. I've been talking for 30 seconds. I got everybody interrupting my shit.
If you just have so many interesting things to say that we need more detail.
We just need you to go slower so we can keep up, Beastly. That's what you gotta speak at the speed that we can Google what you're saying.
Have you ever seen what a Volcana sheep looks like?
No, I'm looking.
This sheep looks better than I have ever looked like in my life. I understand why it's so much money. Look at him. Look how graceful he is. Look at his long, luscious hair. Looks like Fabio.
God damn it, Garrett. I swear, it's like a nightmare. Anyway, exclusivity exists throughout every aspect of the world. You can't go to Burger King and get a quarter pounder. It might not be the same quality, but it's something exclusive.
No, but you can get a burger at both places. That's the thing. The product's the same, but they're accessorizing it differently.
Yes, and Sony had never decided. Well, they've tried it. They tried their hand at making PCs, the Vita brand. Didn't work out so well for them. And like Microsoft, who is the PC, the most dominant PC name in the world, they've also decided to step away from creating PCs to give the consumer something that's more consumer friendly and more focused on gaming and, the living room experience, watching Netflix and Hulu.
Did I just hear you say Microsoft stepped away from selling PCs?
They didn't step away from it, but they also decided to create a game console. So because there is a need and a want for it. These consoles don't have the same power of a PC. If every game that came out on PC and consoles was cross-play, consoles would never sell. So the only thing that they have in their back pocket to drive sales of their consoles is to put something on that console that you can't get anywhere else. To complain and to argue that exclusives like God of War or some of the other amazing exclusives that have been on Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo will be better on PC is a moot point, because that's the only way that they can get people to pick up their particular hardware. I understand it might seem better theoretically or, in reality to play these games on PC. Who knows if one day it's available, but right now it's a business. It's capitalism. That's the way the world works. the PlayStation will never be able to compete with the PC, but the one thing that they can beat a PC at is some exclusives. And Microsoft can do the same thing. And so to say, should exclusives be banned is saying, I don't like your business model because you're drawing attention to your particular brand through these exclusives that I can't play on the console that I want. But
I feel like you're competing against different customers, right? So take your volcano wool, whatever it was.
They also make cheese, these volcano goats.
Amazing.
Volcano goats.
Volcano goats. Right, the person who's buying volcano goat cheese.
It's Vulcana. What is happening?
The person buying volcano goat cheese, right, is not the same person who's buying your $10 shirt, right? Someone that's buying a $3,000 shirt with your logo on it is not a sale that you've lost. They're different customers, and different customers that still have access to your core product. Now, look at that example that you've had, right? Mm-hmm. Sony games. If God of War was playable on PC, the person who buys God of War on PC is not necessarily the same person who would have bought God of War on a PlayStation. People who own consoles often are not buying consoles because they can't afford or do not have a PC. They've got it because they want an all-in-one experience that's easy. You turn it on and it just works and it plays. They've got a UI and a system, an operating system that is completely centric around playing games. And that's what they want. They want that couch TV experience with it all in one. The PC player necessarily doesn't want that. And from my experience between Microsoft and Sony, sharing games would only make each console manufacturer work harder to draw attention to you, because they can't do it by dangling Kratos' swinging dick in front of your eyes to pull you over there.
True.
I don't know.
Why is that not true, Beasley?
Well, if both of you said, first of all, you said that if Microsoft and Sony did crossplay, it would only make them work harder.
That's not what he said.
What did he say?
God of War could be bought on both. So there's no game is exclusive. If Sony put out a game, they are mandated to put it out on all platforms that are available. So forget PC for a moment. Let's put it just on the
business, Gary. So,
Why?
I mean, it's just break it down to a level that we can all understand. You open up a coffee shop. You know there's a Starbucks 2 blocks away, but your dream is to have your own coffee shop. You can't say, well, I'm going to beat... Hold on, Brian.
I only want to sell to white people.
Starbucks are pretty much doing that already. So
I like the white supremacy Starbucks.
So look.
So you're Starbucks.
So you have your own coffee shop. How do you compete with Starbucks? You can't outdo Starbucks. You can't have the same flavors as Starbucks.
You got to come up with something they don't have, or maybe something something they don't.
It's called an exclusive.
Our coffee's good.
You have something that they don't. That's how business works. Now, people might go
capitalism.
People go to
sell coffee.
You both sell coffee, but you only sell your particular exclusive flavor of coffee that they don't have.
No, you say, right, Starbucks.
Coffee, there would all be one flavor.
No. What I'm saying here is, this is the example, right? God of War is coffee, right? God of War is coffee.
God of War is Sony's coffee or my particular coffee shop's coffee.
Hear me out. God of War is coffee.
Analogy doesn't work. I'm just saying. It's not working.
God of War is coffee.
It works.
It is capable, right? God of War is coffee. I can buy coffee at Starbucks. I could buy coffee at Beasley's Corner Shop. The reason that I would buy it at Starbucks is the amenities, the service, the music, the ambience, the things that I get with it. Or I might buy it at your local place because you give me that quality service that I can't get there. You know my name. You know my order as I walk in. You talk to me like a human. Right? The same game, different service provided around the game. I will go to the service that suits me the most.
But see, that's you. What if the game is the deciding factor? What if my game...
Well, that's how it is now, Beasley.
That's the whole point. That is the point. That is their draw. That's Sony's draw against Microsoft, against Nintendo, against PC.
So Beasley, we get that. We understand how it works. But what the question is, what if it wasn't like that, right? And it doesn't. I think tying it to the Sony Microsoft console war, it brings up a little bit of hot tempers. Like, but imagine if the Steam box had succeeded, right? And instead of buying a Steam box because Alienware is my favorite brand, I had 6 choices of which box I wanted to play. let's say, Destiny 2 on, right? I had 6 choices. I could play Destiny 2 on any of these 6 choices. One of these is $700 and has, really good graphics. One of these is $400 and is a little bit smaller and fits better in an entertainment center. One of these is $1,300 but runs 4K 60 in my living room. That's, I think, the kind of customer choice that could be available to us, as opposed to if I want to play God of War, I'm stuck to having to buy whatever Sony has decided to manufacture. Right? There's a crazy. Stop interrupting argument. Just for a second. There's a level of consumer choice that is missing from the market right now, where I would like to play God of War at 60 frames a second, but that's not a conceivable option to me. Even though there's hardware that can definitely do it, Sony has created that brand, and they have made sure that it's only available on a Sony PlayStation, so that in the current reality, there's just no way I can play at 60 frames per second, even though I have a $3,000 PC and I have a $500 Xbox One X. Those pieces of hardware stay silent while I play God of War on my PS4 Pro at 30 frames per second.
That's why you have that option.
With some games though, like Call of Duty World at War, we had the option to play it on virtually every console we wanted to, including Wii. I think that option is there. I can tell you right now, 99.9% of game developers would love to have their game come out on every platform. But there's this thing called a pissing contest where either your publishing company is so big that they have to take your deal and have it remain exclusive, or you have a title like Call of Duty, which is bigger than the publishers, then you have the big swinging dick to say, well, no, we're either going to put it out on everything or we're not going to do it at all. The capability's out there. It can be done. It's been done with several games before. It's just whether or not people can come together and make these decisions, because ultimately I do think that's a good deal to have it come out on all consoles, but you got to weigh the pros and cons. So for instantly, World at War, what did it have going for it on the Wii? Cool, you could use motion controls. Maybe you're not into that. What did it have going for it on the PlayStation? Well, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Plus was free at the time. You know what I mean? So it's little things like that I think should be the deciding factor of where we play our games.
That's the point, is that I don't understand where the immediate jump to it's anti-competition, saying that, well, it's not going to damage your product. If God of War was available, just using it as an example here, on Microsoft as well, why would that be damaging to people that want to play it on a PlayStation? Why would having more people able to play it be a bad thing?
It'd be damaging for PlayStation itself, for Sony, but it wouldn't be.
It would be damaging for the company. Absolutely, it would be damaging for Sony.
It would. It wouldn't be damaging for players.
Gamers.
And it's weird to see players get upset about it, right?
No. I just understand business. I'm telling you how business works. We're not talking third parties here. Capcom, Square Enix, EA. They can make games, and as you guys see, they pretty much run on every console, PC as well. But Microsoft owns studios. Sony owns studios. That is their actual studio. Why would they, in their own studio, when they're trying to build something for their brand, go against that business decision, which is the smartest thing that they could possibly do? Make their stuff more appealing.
For a moment, you have to step out of the existing reality that we're in, right? You have to. It's more of a conceptual argument conversation than a reality one, right? We know that why Sony makes exclusives, but we're talking about what if this changed? Would it benefit consumers or would it hurt consumers? Right, we know why there's exclusives.
It would hurt them. It would hurt them. It would hurt Xbox if Halo and every other game. Yes, of course.
If it was across the board, everybody would have to compete based on their hardware and their services, as opposed to having exclusive games. Are you sure? Are you sure it would hurt them? It would hurt Sony right now for sure, because Sony has all the exclusives. Would it hurt Xbox? I doubt it. I think Xbox would suddenly see a huge jump in sales.
And I mean, from Sony's perspective, look at God of War. Just take that again. There's 35 million Xboxes in the wild. That's 35 million more potential sales of your software.
And there's
Granted, it's
and there's potential hundreds of thousands of millions of PlayStations that will be sold to people who want to play God of War.
Fandios, I think, in chat has a good point. The funding for the development of games would be severely reduced. That might be a big point, because right now a lot of game studios are owned by Sony. Fewer are owned by Xbox, but a lot of them are actually owned, or a lot of exclusives are actually paid for. Like not God of War. The Tomb Raider games have all been Xbox exclusives for a limited time, and they do that because Microsoft has basically given them a dump truck full of money to do it, right? And then the game comes out a year later on Sony and PC, or does it come out day and date on PC?
Probably day and date on PC, I'd imagine. It's all the same thing.
For a conceptual argument, in my mind, it would have to be a ubiquitous argument that exclusives would have to be available across the board, in every facet of life for this argument to work.
Take it outside gaming for a second then. Look at the American versus the UK ISP, the cable industry, right? And that's a really good example. In America, you guys have got just like, the service isn't commoditized, right? Your internet service is just, this is the people who give you your internet. This is the internet there that has it. I don't know if it's the same with utilities, but that's what you've got there. In the UK, the product is the internet, but we've got like 4 or 5 different companies that can be all giving you this. They're all giving you the same thing. So let's say God of War is cable, right? For the argument here, everyone's got the same cable. It's the same thing there, but the way that they differentiate themselves, why I go to you, is you might be offering cable at a lower price. You might be offering cable, but you've got 24/7 helpline support. You might have cable, but you give me a better router, so my wireless in my home is better. What we would be in a situation in this hypothetical argument is that I might buy God of War on a PlayStation for X reason. I might buy it on an Xbox because of Y reason. But all of them are going to have to. God of War is a flat commodity. It's the same game. Who is going to make me want to buy it on your platform the most? Is it that Sony are going to offer it for $40 instead of 60 to make you go and buy it there? Is it that Xbox are going to say, well, we'll do 4K 60, but it's a $60 game? It just gives you as a consumer more choice, I think.
I guess, in this argument we'll just have to agree to disagree. I think it's
so you as a customer, like, not, let's put the business aside. Like, let's say you don't care, you actually hate all these business owners, okay? You're not looking out for the business owner, you're not looking out for them making money. You as a consumer would rather have to purchase 3 video game consoles every 4 to 5 years to get the games you want, instead of maybe just purchase one and potentially play all the games you want, as a consumer, not as a businessman.
I mean, as a consumer, that applies to every aspect of my life. I mean, it would be easier, if you
That's what I'm saying. Would it be beneficial to you instead of having to buy 3 to 4 systems every 4 years,
Willie, the goalpost has been moved. That wasn't the initial question. Is should exclusives be banned? It wasn't.
That's what I'm getting at, though. Is if the exclusives were banned and everything was available across every platform, and you didn't have to buy 3-4 platforms to get the exclusive Nintendo game, to get the exclusive Sony games, to get the exclusive Microsoft games.
It would hurt us all tremendously in the end.
Why?
So you're against it.
It would hurt us all tremendously in the end. There's a reason that Sony's winning. There's a reason that Microsoft is second. These numbers would all be different if everything was available everywhere. Some of these companies might go under at some point, or decide to maybe not pursue this avenue anymore if the revenue stream wasn't the same. There's a reason that these companies are doing things in the way that they're doing.
Other companies might step up, though. Like, if there was one, if you're talking about like a one platform system, right? So, I mean, you'd have to divorce yourself from PS4 versus Xbox versus PC. Like, it'd be just one platform that any manufacturer could make. And if that were the case, then you could have Philips making, a game box. You could have
CDI
Samsung making a game box. Like, any company could come into that space and compete. Hell, you could have some boutique boutique maker in America making something out of like, only high-end parts made in America. It costs a little bit more, obviously, because it's not made in China, but maybe it's got like an aluminum case that looks really nice in your living room, matches your decor, like all of a sudden you'd have this huge rush of competition to come in.
We do have that.
No, we don't. We have PS4 versus Xbox versus PC.
Totally not true, and I'll tell you why. That world does exist. It's like Blu-ray movies and Blu-ray players. There's tons of Blu-ray players and ways for you to experience a Blu-ray disc, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, what if the Blu-ray maker added perks or added something different on a Blu-ray for a particular Blu-ray player?
So if
you had
say
that
Iron
player,
Man would only play on a Samsung Blu-ray player,
or played better on a Samsung,
or it had the deleted scenes or the director's cut that would only play on one version of it.
Most 90% of video games that exist are ubiquitous. They play across consoles and PC. I'd say probably 80%. They play across all platforms. The ones that we're arguing about are the ones that are particularly made by the manufacturer of the console.
Right.
And I
right
think
now,
that
those are kind of, to me, the sole reason to buy a console, right? The reason I don't want an Xbox One X is because they haven't made a compelling argument to sell me that platform, because there's no exclusive games on it. But if the Xbox One X and the PlayStation were both playing the same games, if all games were, console agnostic, I probably wouldn't own a PlayStation right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But you'd still be playing all the same games.
I would still be playing all the same games.
I'd be playing the same games, and
so
they would
it's
be running
good for
better
the
on the
consumers
Xbox.
then.
I think it does sound like it's good for the consumer, to be honest with you, on the face of it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a pipe dream.
No.
But
No.
it's fun to think about.
The only way that this ever could have happened is during some type of agreement at the very genesis of video game development and console development.
Yes.
If the competitors decided, hey, look, this is going to be the one platform.
I think the chance for it to happen was the Steam Box, and consumers, like, the Steam Box was released in a way that it was not compelling to consumers, and it was expensive, and it kept getting delayed.
I agree with both of you. I think the snowball that has been going down the hill, as Beasley is saying, is too large right now for anything, including the Steam Box, to get in its way. But I think you're right, Briar. I think that was the one opportunity to.
I was looking forward to that, to be totally honest.
It offered
some good
PC
points,
gaming
Beasley.
in your living room. I thought it looked cool.
Made some good points. You made it see it from the other side.
It's an interesting conversation for sure.
For sure.
I mean, this is a conversation.
Awesome.
This is a conversation I'd like to have after about 6 beers. This I think would really heat up.
The end of it is me going like this to fucking giving Beasley the old the buffalo wave, and Beasley just knocking me the fuck out.
The beginning is all laughs and smiles and dick jokes. The middle is Briar putting 2 middle fingers up Beasley's nose. And the end is all of us.
Nose. If he put it up my nose, I would have already knocked him out. He just touched my nose.
And then the end is all of us hugging.
On our unified system.
It's not a Friday until Beasley's fucking knocked somebody out.
That's true.
It's not a Friday.
So we're already over time. Should we skip to our last?
Let's do the last one, because I think it'd be a quick one. And we got to get one of Beasley's in. So why don't you introduce the last topic, Beasley?
Which one? Yes, we are a gaming podcast.
The
special.
Oh, special lover.
Okay. Special lover. You can tell it's a Beasley topic. This came to my mind as my wife was explaining to me how she would have relationships with Kratos. Of course, she's about 20 hours into the game, and we rode around today, went to Krispy Kreme, did some shopping, and she was like, she'd give it up, no conversation, that any way he wanted. And I was like, I'm looking at her driving, getting ready to wreck, and she said, well, you can't be jealous. He's not even a man. He's a god. So wouldn't you feel better afterwards if he was a god? And I understood the argument, and so.
Me and my wife had the same conversation about the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh, really? Which one of you is attracted to the Doughboy? All right,
I'm going to leave that one on the table.
I can't ever watch the Pillsbury Doughboy without being uncomfortable, because they always have to touch his belly button at some point in that.
And that's your thing. That is your thing. You are the real life incarnate of the Pillsbury Doughboy, because that's you freak out that people touch your belly button. I can't wait.
He always seems so happy. He seems so happy when they do it. It creeps me out.
So the question for the topic is, and you guys let us know in the comments too. You have one night, a night to remember. Tonight, time stops and you get to sleep with anyone from a video game. There will be zero evidence except for your own memories. Who do you choose? I'm sorry, Gary. James Franco isn't in a video game yet.
I know, it's sad.
You said I could sleep with anyone, and my first thought was Gary Diaz, but then you said in a video game. So until Gary gets put into a video game, I have to hold off on that. So I have 3, okay? Because I saw this question earlier.
Nothing wrong with a force.
3.
It's just, I like to...
3.
Do not make me decide.
Does he get all 3 at once?
My list, and I like to preview our topics beforehand in case there's questions like this and I don't have to decide on the fly. So, number 1, Cortana. Needs no introduction. We all know who Cortana is. Okay.
Hologram.
Don't
Can't
ask
even
how
have
it
actual intercourse with it. It's literally light.
talking about how intercourse with a video game character, first of all. Like, so there's suspension of disbelief, I believe, are the words I've heard you use before.
What are you gonna stick your dick in the light projector? Like, what the fuck? How's it even work?
Brian, real talk, Brian. For a long time, I was sexually attracted to Edie from Mass Effect 2, the robot. I thought she was a perfect woman, and I'm sure she had a tight slap, no lubrication, probably some serious chafing, but she was so perfect. I was like, God damn, this robot is fine as fuck.
Man, chat are going in deep.
Lilith from Borderlands, the Siren. She's awesome, very attractive, powerful woman. And then, of course, as of lately, Anna Bray. After seeing her do that awesome stuff, and they definitely put attention to detail on the
I am
beauty.
attracted to a strong woman.
That's what I'm saying, dude. A girl
Anna
that can kick
Bray,
my ass.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys ever played the Kirby games? I mean, the man could suck.
A golf ball through a garden hose, man.
You can suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
I mean, literally. It might be a little dangerous, but I'm willing to give it a shot for science.
What does it turn into after he? Because after he eats the character, and we know Kirby swallows. I'm just saying, like.
He just becomes a dick, just a giant Kirby dick with like a cute pink.
That's what Briar Lynn's
at least an average sized one.
His little Kirby face looking all sad and ashamed of himself. What have I done? His little feet will become the balls as well. Like,
He's put some thought into this.
Yeah. Well, I have now.
I have now. This is on the fly. It's just that perverted on the fly. I love it.
That's it. You've got anyone, Briar, and you're fucking Kirby.
So I said Anna Bray. Briar says Kirby.
So for me, it came down to a couple of really hard choices. I think I pretty much narrowed down who the lucky lady would be. Of course, Street Fighter V has some of the most amazing looking females like ever in a video game. Huh?
I thought maybe you were into long hair. I don't know.
Use a tall drink of water.
Violent Ken.
I was thinking of a different blonde, actually. Cammy is a 10 in Street Fighter V. Just watching her walk around makes you just want to get your fingers broken just making her move. Just incredible. So that'd be a hell of a night. Manat from Street Fighter V is also, she does this little wiggle when she does her super move, almost breaks your TV. So she's super sexy. But then I was thinking, who is the freakiest of the freaky? I was like, Bayonetta.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Dan.
Even with that little bitch ass Hadouken that goes like 2 feet.
Bayonetta, listen, Bayonetta would do
Dousing
anything
with the stretchy arms.
Oh.
That's true. You can keep dousing.
Imagine how deep his fisted go.
There's no going easy.
Literally touched me where nobody's ever touched me before.
That's what I'm saying. There's no going easy with Dalsim. He just goes in.
That's all you, Gary. But I was thinking that Bayonetta would be like the perfect one-night stand because she's obviously freaky enough to do like literally anything. Plus, she's like 7 feet tall, so it'd be like a Amazon kind of experience with a woman who has.
I don't know if I could have sex with somebody who dresses in their own hair. I'm just putting that out there.
I'm a man in the 70s. I like hair, okay?
I'm really surprised you didn't pick Laura from Street Fighter V.
Laura's not really my type. I got a sister-in-law, her, and she argued. I got a sister-in-law.
Do you know she's the heaviest woman in Street Fighter that they've ever put in, and they say she weighs like 145 pounds or something like that.
She's all right, but Cammy is perfect in Street Fighter. Cammy and Manat does that shape. Google Manat shape, please. But I was thinking Bayonetta would be a little too freaky because she shows her ass in every video game. Every cutscene is her spreading her leg. So it's like there's nothing left to the imagination. And then I thought, who would be just as sexy as Bayonetta, but doesn't really reveal it all, and she might just be just as freaky if you finally get that opportunity. So I went yes. I went with Lara Croft from the game Tomb Raider, not the original, the remakes. Of course.
Mean, that might be the OG sex symbol of video games, right?
No. You guys are missing it, right? I've got two. I've got a heterosexual and a homosexual choice.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with the heterosexual, and this is the original sex symbol of video games. And
Can we guess?
Well, as arcade kids, you probably should have already guessed.
Chun-Li.
She's royalty.
Wait a minute.
Peach.
You're not talking about the Queen of England again, are you?
I'm talking about none other than the heroine of Dragon's Lair, Princess Daphne.
Oh, come on, man. She wasn't fine, Gary.
She was blonde. She was leggy. She wore great dresses.
She was royalty.
It was Princess Daphne of Dragon's Lair. How many quarters did you waste on Dragon's Lair trying to rescue her?
Like $3 because I realized it was $1 a game and you play for 5 seconds. It's like, fuck that.
I put $1 in and was like, "Oh, you got to use your hands. That's a baby's toy," and walked away.
Yeah.
Like the whole.
I didn't know what the fuck was happening. He just walked. I was like, "Okay, is the game getting ready to start?" And then he just walked off a cliff. I was like, $1?
I was like, "Oh, fuck this game."
Next time. I really want to put the hurt on somebody. That's a baby's toy.
I've got a PS1 version of Dragon's Lair on my Vita, and I play Captain Saberho and go through that castle and liberate myself with my Princess Daphne. She is stunning, and I won't have you speak ill of her. That is my straight choice. Mm-hmm. Recent addition for my gay choice.
Deborah K.
No.
Really? Because that would be my choice for 100%.
No, there's something.
Hold on, I'm sorry, Gary, to interrupt your.
This is an older version of Gary. It's Gary 30 or 25, 30 years from now in the Destiny universe. He'd be in a tower with a sniper.
I couldn't see Gary with somebody old. Gary seems to be too fickle for that. He wants something fresh and young.
Plays a nurturer. All right, that 5 o'clock shadow says, "I will hold you and care."
I like to talk post coitus.
Yeah.
So I kind of, again, I oscillate here. If I had to pick a video game character, it would be someone different. Just as an honourable mention here on the gay side, Troy Baker. He doesn't have to be in character.
I get that. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in character or anything. Just Troy Baker will do. We'll just turn up, preferably undressed. So that will be Troy. In my video game sphere is something that me and Beastie's Lady share in common, and that would be Kratos.
Power bottom. Gary, the power bottom.
Gary, the power bottom Kratos.
There's a
Heavy
feeling.
Metal Mama said the same thing as you, Gary. She said Kratos, and she also said Bayonetta, so she's channeling us both. We love Heavy Metal Mama.
There's a feeling that develops down in my nether regions when he calls me boy, repeatedly. Throughout that game, every time he says it, I'm more and more inclined to him. The way he's so big and strong and protects me throughout. I mean, I'm pretty much channeling his son in this, which makes it even more illicit.
Gary just wants to be boy. That's what it is. Boy.
One day he'll call me Atreus. Yeah, that's it. Just kind of, again, for me, Kratos is just a big, strong man. He's everything you want from a man. Everything that I'd look for in a man.
Kate said that too. So I mean, you have a lot in common with Kate, Gary.
He's powerful. His abs are like chiseled. He shows just one nipple, just to tease but not reveal. I can't fault him.
Dan says Kratos would fucking ruin Gary's anus.
I'm not expecting it to be pleasant. I am not his queen.
No, so check it out. I was talking to Kate, right? I was talking to Kate in the car. Bend over, boy. I I was talking to Kate. I said, Kate, you see this guy picking up boulders and rocks? I said, and look at how the guy's built. I said, he would break your hip. She said, no, he wouldn't. I was like, she's like, I'd be able to take it. I was like, holy shit. So, yeah, Gary, I guess you do have something in common with Kate again.
Oh, wow. That was a good one. Guys, I don't even know where to go from there.
I think we should end it. I think we should end it before they end it for us.
Get the lube, boy. Ow!
Boy!
Dakota's saying I played the entire game with an erection is not far off. I mean, I did get through it pretty damn quickly.
Oh, my goodness. Where could they find all of us, guys?
They can find us on Twitter. They can find me at Beastly Gamer Max on Twitter. Talking shit. I promise. No drama this week. No ass whoopings for my kids, and hopefully nobody hits me twice.
I wanted to ask you about you changed your Twitter tag. Your Beastly Gamer Max now. Was that because of the Pepsi sponsorship? What happened there?
It's supposed to be a secret, Briar.
Oh, did I leak it? Early leak?
You're worse than these fucking the White House, man.
Oh, Gary, where can the fine folks on the internet find you?
I mean, they should probably actively avoid me if they want to keep their net searches safe. But if they do want to find me, they can find me at Gary Diaz86 on Twitter, or hanging out in the streams of any of these other fine gentlemen where I normally am. And Briar and I have actually been doing a talk series intermittently where we get more serious. There's less penis talk and more Destiny talk.
Less.
So
a little less.
And for those of you who have sat through 2 hours and 28 minutes of mindless drivel for this golden opportunity to get your Cisco facts, well, wait no longer, because Cisco fact is here.
Yes. We need it.
This week, Cisco fact is about his relationship status. And Cisco, contrary to popular belief, is a heterosexual male. The white leather outfit was misleading, but no, for the men amongst us, we're disappointed this week because he has a constant partner, the mother of his 2 kids, and her name is Mika Natalia Pierce.
Oh, interesting.
I feel close.
Tune in next week for your next Cisco fact.
Yeah.
Natalia sounds Russian.
I feel it does. That's like the chick's name from Goldeneye. That was the Natalia. Yeah.
Russian women are bad as fuck, man.
No doubt. That's Padanya. No doubt.
But completely spent. I can't clarify any further. The Cisco facts are exhausted for this week, but our researchers are hard at work to get you one more for next week.
I can't wait to meet these researchers. They be working hard as fuck.
You can find me anxiously awaiting May 8th for the release of Warmind. But until then, if you want to talk some shit, hit me up on Twitter at Ryu Wilson. That's RYU Wilson.
Yeah, send lots of nude pics because Wilson.
And for the people who are just showing up in chat, we go live every Sunday at 4:00 p.m.
4 p.m. Yeah, so we're changing the show time. So if you're a live viewer, last week we changed the time of the show so we could have Story on because I think the show would have started at like 2 or 3 a.m. for him.
He would have been,
Yeah, it was rough. So we changed it to 4 o'clock, and everybody on the show was like, yo, I kind of like doing it at 4 o'clock. Let's do it at 4 o'clock.
Now you guys don't get to see me pop sleeping pills at 7:15 anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah, this will be the new normal time. So 4 o'clock Eastern. What time is it in the UK, Gary?
In the UK, it's a 9 p.m. start rather than 11 p.m. start, so it becomes a nice evening show on a Sunday.
Yeah,
9 p.m.
I'm so happy, Gary.
Till 11 p.m. It's joyful. I'm like exuberant. Now's the time when I normally start getting a bit delirious and talking about dicks, but I've managed to bring that an hour earlier, so it's progress for me.
Way to go, man! I'm happy you're making progress.
All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. You know what? I think we're gonna do a raid too.
Let's do a raid.
Why don't we host
raid
at the end of the show from now on? Because I feel like we just end it and then just drop it off. So should we do keep it in talk shows, or should we?
That's up
do
to you, man.
In the Destiny community.
This is a long shot, but I know he does stream. Is Cisco streaming? It's a left field
Cisco,
shot.
he does stream.
He does stream.
Yes.
Is his name Cisco?
I don't know.
We may have to come back to this next week.
Wait, I'll get onto my researchers.
Mr. Cisco Facts, what's his Twitch name?
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I told you, I've
Who are
asked
these
the researchers. They can only work so fast. God damn it, they're just men.
Who's streaming right now that we know? Anyone from the rabbit hole on?
Jiminy Christmas. LOL. Take care. Later, boys.
I think Inner Black Ninja and Fork Knife Spoon are starting a podcast. I don't know what time they plan on starting it. I think they're going to do it on Sundays too.
I think so. I think it was later tonight. I think it was 8
later tonight.
Should we stop our local recordings at some point, or are we just going to let this one run?
Nobody's in the Warren. Yeah, we should probably stop it, right?
Yeah, stop that. Yeah.
Nobody's in the Warren. Let me see if MLG was taken. If there's anybody in there. Nope.
This is complicated.
If not, TV's on. Sheik is on. Lightbreaker and Hovey are playing Fortnite.
Is there anyone in IRL with boobies?
Gary Diaz.
That's a word I say all the time, but normally my daughter's hanging on him. She fights me for him too.
Let's do Lightbreaker. We haven't hosted Lightbreaker.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever fought a child for a nipple? They use their fucking foot. They'll be holding one like this, then they see you coming to the other one, and they'll stick their foot up and put it on the other nipple.
I'm going to be honest. This conversation makes me wildly uncomfortable.
All right. Google Drive.
Only one time, Beasley, but it was his mother, so.
Yeah, I mean that's how I always feel. Yeah.
Revolver 39. Willie is how I'll be putting
Willie,
him from now on.
Sweet Dick Willie.
It throws me off.
Make sure you guys hit that follow button on Lightbreaker. Lightbreaker's a hell of a dude. Playing some Fortnite, getting on, doing it.
Love Lightbreaker. He's a good dude.
Ask him if he'd ever fuck Kirby.
Ask him if he's getting any.
Would you fuck Kirby Raid? Everybody just type in, would you fuck Kirby?
Yes,
when we get there. Let's do it. Would you fuck Kirby Raid?
Ask him if he's getting any Hebrew hoes. Man, that's a throwback. We're going to get all of us banned, aren't we?
Light don't give a fuck.
Yo, thank you so much, man.
I think barely.
Would you fuck Kirby? Oh no! Oh no!
A few years back.
Would you have sex with Kirby?
Kirby's
Kirby's mouth game is pretty strong.